Geothermal Energy, Hot Stuff by Amy S. Hansen. What is geothermal energy? Every fall, black ants move their nests deeper underground. They do this to keep from freezing. It is warmer deeper underground, thanks to Earth's geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is heat from inside Earth. If you go about 10 feet, 3 meters down, the ground stays between 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 to 16 degrees Celsius. If you dug even deeper, you would find the temperature getting warmer and warmer. People use geothermal energy to heat or cool buildings and to make electricity. Geothermal energy is a clean energy source. We do not pollute when we use it. Geothermal energy is also renewable. That means we cannot use it up. Where on Earth is the heat? Our Earth has 3 layers. They are the crust, mantle, and core. The core is at Earth's center. This is the hottest layer. It is still hot from when Earth formed over 4 billion years ago. Much of Earth's heat is generated in the core and flows out to the mantle, Earth's middle layer. The mantle has melted rocks, called magma. Magma heats up water deep underground. When water reaches Earth's crust or outside layer, it causes hot springs and geysers. It also powers geothermal energy systems. Earth's crust is warmed by the sun. We use energy from the crust for geothermal energy systems called geothermal heat pumps. A hot history. Geysers at Yellowstone National Park shoot hot water into the air. Long before there was a park, early Native Americans used these geysers. They cooked food and bathed in the hot water. Other ancient people used hot springs and geysers too. The ancient Chinese and Japanese built baths around hot springs. The ancient Romans piped hot water out of hot springs and into their bathtubs. In 1904, Italians went beyond what their Roman ancestors had done. They created the first geothermal power plant. The plant used steam that rose out of holes in the ground to make electricity. Hot water means warm buildings. If you live near a hot spring, it is not hard to come up with uses for the hot water. For example, people of Reykjavik, Iceland, use their hot springs to heat buildings. They pipe hot water from underground through their buildings. Geothermal energy can also help plants grow. Farmers build greenhouses that use geothermal energy in some places where farming is hard. Inside the greenhouses, there are pipes full of hot water drawn up from underground. The hot water warms both the soil and the air inside the building. People use this method to grow vegetables in Hungary, Italy, Iceland, and New Mexico, making electricity from hot water. Most kinds of power plants use energy to heat water and create steam. The steam rises and turns turbines, which make electricity. This is easy with geothermal power plants, since most of them start out with hot water. There are several kinds of geothermal plants. In flash steam plants, engineers pipe hot, pressurized water from underground to the surface. When they lower the pressure, the water turns to steam, or flashes. In binary power plants, engineers use hot water to boil a liquid that creates steam to turn turbines. Electricity with dry rocks. There are places where there is underground heat, but no nearby water. Engineers are finding ways to bring water to these hot spots. Then we will be able to use the geothermal energy there. Hot dry rock, or HDR systems, are one way to do this. Scientists in Los Alamos, New Mexico, began building the first HDR system in 1970. The system used 3 wells, each about 2 miles, 3 kilometers deep. Engineers sent cold water down the first well. The cold water hit the hot rocks and broke them. The water turned hot. Some of it turned to steam. The steam and water then rose up through the other wells and turned turbines. Heat for your house. Engineers have also found ways to heat buildings with heat from Earth's crust when there is no water source. They use a heat pump to capture geothermal energy. A heat pump starts by moving water through the ground. The water warms up. The warm water heats a gas called freon. Next, the hot freon enters a machine called a compressor. The compressor presses the gas into a smaller area. This makes the gas even hotter. A fan blows air over the hot freon. The air warms up and is used to heat the building. In time, the compressor lets the freon out. The gas cools it off, and the cycle starts again. Problems with geothermal energy. One of the biggest problems with geothermal power plants is that not everyone can use them. Geothermals make clean energy, but they have to be built near a source of geothermal heat. In North America, most of those sources are in the West. A second problem is that engineers find that some geothermal power plants run out of steam. They are fixing this problem by adding more water. For example, the city of Santa Rosa, California, pipes its cleaned wastewater to a group of geothermal plants called the geysers. The water keeps the power plants working. What comes next? Geothermal energy is becoming more and more common. Some new schools use geothermal heat pumps instead of furnaces or air conditioners. Farmers can keep fish in ponds warmed by geothermal heat. Running pipes of warm water under sidewalks can keep them clear of snow. Engineers are now looking for ways to get more energy from Earth. They are experimenting with drilling deeper to collect more heat. They are finding places where magma can easily be reached. In 2007, 24 countries used geothermal heat to make electricity. Today, that number is growing.
Black widow spider. Willow Clark. Danger! Black widow! The female black widow spider is one of only a few North American spiders with a bite that is dangerous to people. The red markings on its abdomen are a warning to stay away or risk getting bitten. Some black widow spiders live in the forests of North America. The markings on a black widow's abdomen look like two bright red triangles that are touching each other. The black widow spider is named for the fact that the female sometimes kills the male after they mate. A widow is a woman whose husband has died. Both male and female spiders of these species are called black widow, however. Insect. When people talk about creepy creatures, they often call everything a bug. Many of these bugs are insects, but spiders are arachnids. One easy way to tell the difference is to look at the number of legs. Insects have 6 legs. Arachnids have 8 legs. There are about 40,000 species of spiders in the world. Of that number, the black widow spider is one of the 3 kinds of North American spiders that are harmful to people. There are about 3,400 different kinds of spiders that live in North America. Most spiders are harmless to people. There are 3 species of black widow. They are closely related and they live in some of the same places, so they are often talked about together. Black widow spiders often live in tree stumps or near piles of branches or leaves. Black widow spiders live all across the United States. Some even live in the desert. The southern black widow is found as far south as Florida, as far north as New York, and as far west as Nevada. The northern black widow lives in the northeastern states from New York to southern Canada. The western black widow lives in the western states from Arizona to southwestern Canada. Widow spiders around the world. The black widow has relatives that live all around the world. There are around 30 species of widow spiders in the world. Widow spiders live in South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The red widow is bright reddish orange and lives in Florida. The brown widow spider really gets around. It has been found in the United States as well as Australia, South Africa, and Cyprus. No matter where they live, all widow spiders have venomous bites that can be harmful to people. The Australian redback spider looks a lot like its American cousin, which is shown here. A spider's body is divided into two parts. The front part is called the cephalothorax. This is where the mouth, eyes, and legs are. The back part is the abdomen. This is where web-spinning parts called spinnerets are located. An adult female black widow spider is about 0.5 inches, 1.27 centimeters long. An adult male is about 0.25 inches, 0.635 centimeters long. The red markings on this black widow spider show that it is a female. Like many spiders, male and female black widows look different from one another. The female has a red hourglass-shaped marking on its abdomen. The male has yellow or red markings on its back and is lighter in color than the female. Black widows are found in dark, undisturbed places. Outdoors, they might be found around woodpiles, tree stumps, and low bushes. Sometimes they are found indoors in basements, garages, or crawl spaces. Black widow spiders find dark places that are not bothered by people so they can build their strong webs. Each of the black widow's 8 legs is covered with tiny hairs that let it feel movements on its web. A spider's web plays many roles. It is the spider's home. It protects the spider from predators. It is a sticky trap for the spider's prey. Some spiders spin webs in a special pattern. Black widow spiders spin large, messy-looking webs. Some of the insects that black widows eat are flies, mosquitoes, grasshoppers, beetles, and caterpillars. Black widows prey on insects that become stuck in their webs. They bite the insect with their fangs. This injects venom into the insect. The venom turns the insect's insides into liquid. The spider then sucks up this liquid. One animal that preys on the black widow is the mud dauber wasp. This insect will catch and kill the black widow. It takes the spider back to its nest, where the wasp feeds the spider to its young. Mud dauber wasps are able to kill black widow spiders and bring them back to their nests to eat. Black widow babies. During mating season, the male searches for a female. After mating, the female lays an egg sac in her web. The sac contains between 250 and 750 eggs. She guards the eggs until they hatch 14 to 30 days later. Mating season is in the spring and summer. The female is shown here with her egg sac. These baby black widows are brown and orange. When they are 3 months old, they will have the color and markings of an adult black widow. Baby spiders, or spiderlings, leave their mother's web after they hatch. Spiderlings are orange and brown. As they grow, they molt. Black widows are adults when they are about 3 months old. Young children and people who have health problems are the most likely to get sick from a black widow's bite. Being careful is the best way to be safe from black widows. Look carefully before you pick up things in dark or rarely used rooms in a house or in woodsy areas outside. Black widows live in dark, quiet spaces. Those are the places that people need to be the most careful. Black widows only bite to protect themselves. Wearing clothing that fully covers your arms, legs, and feet can help protect you from a bite. If you get bitten, wash the bite spot. Go to the doctor if the wound hurts a lot or if you feel sick. Did you know? Throughout Africa, widow spiders are called button spiders. Black widow spiderlings and adult male black widows are harmless to people. The messy style of web that the black widow makes is also called a cobweb. The female black widow's venom is 15 times stronger than that of a rattlesnake. Black widow spiders can live for as long as 3 years.
Wolverines by Julia J. Quinlan. Meet the wolverine. Wolverines are related to weasels and martens, but look more like small bears. Though they are fairly small and very furry, they are not friendly or cuddly. They are ferocious predators. They are able to kill prey many times their size, such as caribou. Wolverines love to hunt and eat. They are also known as gluttons. A glutton is a person or animal that eats a lot. Wolverines are so fearsome that sometimes they do not even have to fight other animals. They can just scare them away. Wolverines are so tough that they have been known to scare away bears. Furry fighters. Wolverines are fairly short, but have long bodies. Males can grow to be 4 feet, 1 meter long, and 18 inches, 46 centimeters tall. They can weigh up to 66 pounds, 30 kilograms. Female wolverines are generally smaller and lighter. Wolverines have bushy tails that are 5 to 10 inches, 13 to 25 centimeters long. Wolverines have dark brown fur, with 2 lighter brown stripes starting at their necks, going down to their tails. They have very strong teeth that can bite through bone. They have long, sharp claws that they use for fighting and digging. Wolverines have glands that give off an unpleasant smell. Snowy homes. Wolverines live in many countries, including the United States, Canada, Russia, and Finland. They live in the cold northern parts of these countries. They also live in high mountains with cold climates. Some live in forests, but others live in places where trees cannot grow. Wolverines like snowy areas. They prey on animals that get stuck in snowdrifts and avalanches. Wolverines generally do not dig their own burrows. Instead, they find shelter just about anywhere. Sometimes they will sleep in burrows made by other animals. Wolverines do not have permanent homes. However, female wolverines dig temporary burrows in which to give birth. Huge home ranges. Wolverines live alone for the most part. They are often nocturnal or most active at night. Some wolverines live very far north, in places where during parts of the year there are 24 hours of sunlight. During those times, wolverines are active even though it is light out. Wolverines have huge home ranges. These are the areas where wolverines live and hunt. Wolverines' home ranges tend to measure between 38 square miles, 100 square kilometers, and 230 square miles, 600 square kilometers. Male wolverines use their scent glands to mark their home ranges. A male's home range often overlaps with those of several females. Ferocious wolverines. Wolverines are known for their strength and willingness to fight. They attack injured lynx. They have been known to steal food from polar bears, mountain lions, and packs of wolves. They fight other wolverines of the same sex that enter their home ranges. Baby wolverines. The only time wolverines come together is during mating season, when they make babies. The mating season lasts from April until August. Wolverine babies are usually born in February or March. Baby wolverines are called kits. Female wolverines usually have 2 or 3 kits at a time. Occasionally they will have 4. Kits are born with thick fur. They drink milk from their mothers. Young wolverines stay with their mothers for up to 2 years before they start living on their own. Wolverines in the wild usually live for 7 to 12 years. Wolverines in captivity have lived up to 20 years. Fierce predators. Wolverines are omnivores, but they eat mostly meat. They are smart and have many ways to get food. They often eat prey killed by other animals. To get this pre-made meal, a wolverine shows its teeth, sticks up its tail, and growls at the other predator. Wolverines look so ferocious that the other predator tends to run away rather than fight. Wolverines can take down caribou, and other large mammals that have gotten stuck in deep snow. If a wolverine cannot finish its meal, it will use its scent glands to mark the prey so that other animals do not eat it. Threats to wolverines. Wolverines do not have many natural predators. Because they are so ferocious, few animals try to hunt them. However, mountain lions, wolves, and bears sometimes kill wolverines. Wolverines do not go down without a fight, though. They will try to scare away larger predators by growling at them. If they cannot scare them, they will try to fight them off. Humans are the main threat to wolverines. Wolverines are hunted for their fur. They were hunted almost to extinction in the 19th century. Luckily, wolverines have made a comeback in many areas. However, farmers still sometimes kill wolverines because they eat farm animals. Humans and wolverines. Besides being hunted by humans, wolverines are also harmed by human activities. Deforestation harms wolverines. Fewer forests mean fewer places for wolverines to live. Wolverines are also affected by global warming. As the world gets warmer, there are fewer places that get the heavy snows that wolverines are used to. Though some people hunt wolverines, others admire them for their toughness. Michigan is known as the Wolverine State, even though the state does not have a big wolverine population today. Wolverines are so fierce that a superhero is named after them. Wolverine the superhero is featured in the X-Men movies and comic books. Tough survivors. It is hard for scientists to guess how big the wolverine population is. Wolverines are hard to find. This is because wolverines have such large ranges and mostly live alone. However, scientists do not consider them endangered. Wolverines have been driven out of some places due to deforestation and global warming. However, there are still many places where they can live. Wolverines are tough and resourceful. Their ferociousness makes them successful predators, despite the harsh climates in which they live. Sharks by Therese Shea. Sharks, scary or cool? Do you think sharks are scary? They have so many teeth. Maybe you have seen them attack people in movies. In real life, sharks don't hurt people very often. They mostly use their teeth to eat fish. Sharks have been on this planet since long before dinosaurs walked Earth. They are some of the best hunters in the ocean. Some are very fast swimmers, too. Let's learn more cool facts about sharks. A different kind of fish. Did you know that sharks are fish? Like all fish, they live in water and breathe through gills. Unlike other fish, sharks don't have bones. Their bodies are shaped by cartilage, which is hard and bendable. You have cartilage at the end of your nose. Sharks have many rows of teeth. Some sharks have thousands of teeth. A tooth may last only a week in a shark's mouth. When a shark loses a tooth, a new one moves into its place. All kinds of sharks. There are over 350 kinds of sharks all over the world. They have many shapes, colors, and sizes. The biggest sharks are called whale sharks. They can be up to 60 feet, 18.3 meters long. The smallest sharks are called dwarf lanternfish. Some are only 6 inches, 15.2 centimeters long. Most sharks have rounded bodies that allow them to swim quickly through the water. Some sharks have flat bodies that help them move along the ocean floor. Do sharks breathe? Sharks need oxygen to live, just like we do. However, they don't breathe air. Many sharks swim to get oxygen. When they swim, water flows into their mouths. It passes over their gills. The gills take oxygen from the water. Then the water goes out the gill openings. Some sharks at the bottom of the ocean don't need to swim for oxygen. They have muscles in their mouths that pump water over their gills. Where do sharks live? Some sharks live in cold, deep parts of the ocean. Others live in warm waters by the coast. Sharks can also be found in rivers and lakes near the ocean. Sharks usually live in salt water. However, One kind of shark has even been found in freshwater lakes. Some sharks, like hammerheads, migrate. They stay in one place in the summer and move to another place in the winter. They like to be in warm water. Time to eat. Sharks are predators. This means they hunt other animals. Sharks use their teeth to attack their prey. Sharks with narrow, sharp teeth eat animals such as small sharks and whales, fish, squid, seals, and sea lions. Sharks with thick, flat teeth eat crabs and other animals with hard shells. You may think sharks are always hungry and looking for food. That's not true. Some sharks eat only one small meal every 2 or 3 days. Shark pups. Most female sharks don't lay eggs like other fish. Some keep their eggs inside their bodies until they hatch. Others give birth to live babies, or pups. However, sharks that live near the ocean floor may lay eggs. They have more pups than other kinds of sharks. A female shark has pups once a year. Some have 60 or more pups at a time. Others may have only 2 pups at a time. Finding food. Did you know that sharks hear well? They can hear very low sounds, like prey moving through the water. Some sharks can also see in dark places. They can even see some colors. Sharks also have a special way of finding food. They have special tubes in their heads. These tubes help them to sense electricity that comes from fish gills. They may also be able to sense the direction the electricity comes from. Shark enemies. Sharks are powerful and scary. Do they have enemies in the ocean? Yes, they do. They are their own enemies. Large sharks eat smaller sharks. Sharks have a worse enemy on land. People hunt sharks. They eat shark meat, use shark skin for clothing, and make jewelry with shark teeth. Shark fin soup is popular in some places. One bowl can cost more than $300. Some kinds of sharks were hunted so much in the past that they almost disappeared. Do we need sharks? Do we need sharks? Yes, sharks eat ocean animals. Without sharks, there might be too many of some ocean animals. These animals could eat too many ocean plants. This would cause other ocean animals to die. Sharks help keep the ocean a healthy place for fish, plants, and people, too. Bears by Therese Shea. Bears everywhere. Small and cuddly, big and scary, long claws, soft fur, sharp teeth. All of these words describe bears. You probably have seen cartoon bears on television. Bears are characters in many children's books. Maybe you have even seen a real bear in a zoo. Bears are almost everywhere you look. Wild bears live in North America, Asia, Europe, and around the North Pole. One kind of bear lives in South America. Let's learn about bears and their big, bad bite. Short legs, sharp claws. All bears have thick fur and large heads with small eyes and small, round ears. They have short, strong legs. Bears can walk upright like people on 2 big feet. A large bear can have feet that are 16 inches, 41 centimeters long. Each foot has 5 toes, and each toe has 1 long claw. Bears use their claws to find food or attack prey. Bears look like they might be slow because they have short legs and large feet. However, some kinds can move very quickly. Finding food. Bears eat mostly meat. They hunt for fish, mice, squirrels, ants, eggs, grubs, and small forest animals. Bears also eat fruit, berries, nuts, and leaves. They can tear apart beehives to get honey. Their thick fur keeps them safe from bee stings. Some bears travel far to find food. Polar bears have been found more than 200 miles, 322 kilometers from land on floating ice. Hungry grizzlies may roam over an area as large as 12 square miles, 31 square kilometers in search of food. Sleeping through winter. Bears mostly live and hunt alone. Some bears eat large amounts of food in summer to get ready for winter. They go into a den when it gets cold outside. A den may be a cave, a pile of sticks, or a hole dug under a tree. A bear may spend most of winter sleeping in its den. Some scientists call the bear's sleep hibernation. Others think bears do not really hibernate because they sometimes wake up and go outside on warm winter days. Bear cubs. Bears mate during the summer. A female bear may give birth to 1 to 4 cubs during the winter. Cubs usually weigh less than 1 pound, 454 grams. They are born without fur and with their eyes closed. A month later, cubs have soft fur and can open their eyes. They go outside the den for the first time in spring. Some cubs stay with their mother for up to 3.5 years. She teaches them to hunt during this time. Big brown bears. Big brown bears live in Asia, Europe, and North America. They can be many colors. Some brown bears in northwestern North America are called grizzly bears. Grizzlies have brown or black fur with white-tipped hairs. Full-grown grizzlies can be 8 feet, 2.4 meters long. Male grizzlies can weigh up to 1,500 pounds, 681 kilograms. Grizzlies use their jaws to grab fish out of the water. They can eat up to 90 pounds, 41 kilograms of food a day, including large animals such as moose. American black bears. The most common bear in North America is the American black bear. They grow 5 feet, 1.5 meters long, and usually weigh up to 300 pounds, 136 kilograms. Black bears can actually be different colors. One kind of black bear has gray and black fur that makes it look blue. Black bears may bite into a fallen log to eat the ants living inside. They also like eating hard-shelled hickory nuts. A person would need a hammer to open this kind of nut. Polar bears. Polar bears live near the North Pole. Male polar bears can be over 11 feet, 3.4 meters tall, and weigh over 1,000 pounds, 454 kilograms. Polar bears have very thick white fur. This keeps them warm in the icy water. Polar bears can smell food from 10 miles, 16 kilometers away. They mostly eat sea animals, such as fish, walruses, and seals. Their teeth are sharper than other bears' teeth since they eat more meat and fewer plants. Bears in danger. A few kinds of bears have come close to dying out. Throughout history, people have hunted bears for meat, fur, or just for fun. Bears have lost much of their forest homes as people build on their land. Also, global warming may be causing polar bears to lose their icy hunting grounds. We must learn more about how to help bears continue to exist in our world. More kinds of bears. We have learned about big brown bears, American black bears, and polar bears. There are many other kinds of bears. Asiatic black bears have a moon-shaped white mark on their chest. Some think their meat and bones have healing powers. Sun bears are the smallest bears. They can open coconuts with their teeth. Sloth bears move slowly and make loud noises. One kind of South American bear has marks around its eyes that look like glasses. Bears may seem scary, but they are fun to learn about.
Spider Biters by Therese Shea. A riddle. What is small, has 8 legs, and spins silk? A spider. Most people think spiders are just gross. Actually, they are amazing animals. Did you know that a spider eats only liquids? It sucks the liquid out of the body of its prey. Did you know that the blood in a spider's body helps move its legs? In this book, we'll find out much more about some of the coolest spiders in nature. Spider bodies. All spiders have 2 main body parts. The front part is made up of the head and chest. The spider's mouth, fangs, eyes, and legs are found on the front part. The rear part of the body contains silk glands. These glands make the silk that spiders use to build webs and catch prey. Spiders have no bones. Their bodies are covered by tough skin and hairs that help them sense their surroundings. So many eyes! Most spiders have 8 eyes. Others have 6, 4, or 2 eyes. Some spiders that live in dark places have no eyes at all. Hunting spiders can see well. This helps them run after their prey. Web-building spiders cannot see well. Their eyes can only tell dark from light. They use their silk webs to trap their prey. Scary fangs. Spiders don't have teeth, and they don't chew. Instead, spiders have one small leg-like body part on each side of their mouth. These are used to grab and crush their prey. Spiders also have 2 body parts that act as claws and fangs. The spider stabs its prey with these fangs. Venom in the fangs stops the prey from moving or kills it. Then the spider sprays other juices that turn the inside of the prey's body into liquid. The spider drinks this liquid. A trail of silk. Everywhere a spider travels, it trails a line of silk behind it. Spiders have silk glands in the rear part of their bodies. The glands make a liquid silk. The silk passes into body parts called spinnerets. Spinnerets spin the silk and send it through tubes to the outside of the body. When the silk reaches the air, it hardens into a thread. Some glands make silk that is dry when it hardens. Some make silk that is sticky. So much silk! Some spiders use silk to make sticky webs that catch prey. A spider may wrap its prey in silk so it can't escape. Spiders also make silk nests on leaves, underground, or in the middle of their webs. Spiders use a drag line to escape from enemies. A spider can drop to the ground from its web using a drag line. It can also swing in the air from its drag line. When the enemy goes away, the spider climbs back up the drag line. Tarantulas. Tarantulas live in warm parts of the world. They hunt at night. When a tarantula feels the ground vibrate, it runs to grab its prey. Then it stands on its back legs and pushes its fangs into the prey's body. The venom stops the animal from moving so the spider can eat it. Tarantulas also use their fangs to scare their enemies. Their enemies include weasels, skunks, owls, snakes, and large wasps. Orb weavers. Orb weavers spin webs with amazing patterns to catch insects. Some orb weavers wait in the middle of their web for an insect. Others attach a special silk thread to the center of the web. They wait nearby for the thread to vibrate. The orb weaver then knows its prey is stuck to the web. An orb weaver may wrap its prey in silk before biting it with its venomous fangs. The silk wrapping keeps prey, like wasps, from hurting the orb weaver. Fisher spiders. Large and hairy fisher spiders live near water. They hunt small fish, insects, and tadpoles. Fisher spiders don't use webs to trap their prey. These spiders have large bodies and long, thin legs that allow them to walk on water. They can dive underwater to grab their prey with their legs. Like the venom of other spiders, their venom stops the animal from moving. Then the fisher spider drags it to land and eats it. How spiders help. We need spiders in our world. Spiders eat bugs that can bother people. People use spider silk in ways, such as for clothes and fishing nets. Silk is the strongest fiber in nature. Most spiders are only harmful to the small animals they eat. Some spiders can hurt humans too. Black widow spiders and brown recluse spiders have bites that can harm a person. However, spiders only attack if they think they are in danger.
Wildcats by Raz P. Wildcats. When you hear wildcats, do you think of kittens acting badly? Wildcats are what we call lions, tigers, leopards, cheetahs, and other members of the cat family that live in the wild. All these animals share features with the smaller cats we have as pets. They have ears that stand up. They walk on padded paws. They have claws that retract. They have strong jaws with sharp teeth. They are all meat eaters. Let's learn about some wild cats with a bad bite. Lions. Lions have been called the king of beasts for their strong and noble appearance. Lions have yellow-brown fur. Most male lions weigh about 375 pounds, 170 kilograms, and are about 9 feet, 2.7 meters long. Female lions or lionesses are usually smaller. Male lions are the only cats that grow manes. A mane protects a lion's head and neck during a fight. It turns darker as the lion gets older. Lions see well in the dark, so they often hunt at night. Their prey include zebra, antelope, and buffalo. Lions creep low to the ground to surprise their prey. They throw the animal down and clamp their teeth around its throat. This stops the animal from breathing. Lions have 30 teeth. Some are for grabbing prey. Some are for cutting through thick skin. Lions don't have chewing teeth. They swallow their food in big pieces. Tigers. Tigers once lived many places in Asia. Now tigers are only found in a few places. Like lions, tigers can live in hot or cold places. Unlike lions, tigers like to be in the shade most of the time. Most male tigers weigh about 420 pounds, 191 kilograms, and are about 9 feet, 2.7 meters long. Female tigers, or tigresses, are usually smaller. Tigers have a brown-yellow or orange-red coat. All have black stripes. Some tigers are white with blue eyes. Tigers usually live and hunt alone. They eat large animals such as deer, antelope, wild cattle and pigs, and even young elephants. They hunt at night and use their good senses of sight, hearing, and smell. They stalk their prey or hide and wait. Tigers can run fast for short distances, too. They pull their prey's body to the ground with their teeth, just like lions do. After they kill their prey, they drag the body to a safe place to eat it. Leopards. Leopards live in parts of Africa and Asia. Most male leopards are about 7.5 feet, 2.3 meters long. Female leopards are smaller. Leopards weigh much less than lions and tigers. Leopards weigh much less than lions and tigers. Leopards have a light tan coat with many black spots. Leopards that live in the forest are darker than leopards that live in open areas. Their color helps them hide from both enemies and prey. Some leopards are so dark that their spots are hard to see. They are called panthers. Leopards usually live alone. They hunt animals such as antelope, snakes, sheep, and goats at night. They even eat dead animals that they find. Leopards are different from other big cats because they spend a lot of time in trees. They can see their prey below and jump on them. Once they kill an animal, they may drag it high into a tree. This keeps the prey from being eaten by other animals. Cheetahs. Cheetahs live on the grassy plains of Africa and parts of Asia. The cheetah is the fastest wildcat. In fact, it is the fastest land animal. Cheetahs can run up to 70 miles, 113 kilometers an hour. That's as fast as a car speeding on a highway. Cheetahs have a mostly yellow-brown coat covered by black spots. They are usually about 3 feet, 0.9 meters tall, and about 6 feet, 1.8 meters long. Baby cheetahs are called cubs. They stay with their mother until they are about a year and a half old. Their mother teaches them to hunt. Unlike most wildcats, cheetahs hunt during the day. Cheetahs use sight more than smell to find food. Their prey are medium-sized animals like young warthogs and small antelope. They may also hunt birds and can make sounds like birds to trick their prey. Save the wildcats. Many kinds of wildcats, like the cheetah, are endangered. This means there are not many of them left in the world. People are the wildcats' worst enemy. Some people hunt wildcats for their beautiful skins. Some people have moved onto land where wildcats live. Wildcats are losing living spaces and sources of water and food every day. We must make sure these amazing animals have a place to live and do not disappear forever. Nature's Deadliest Animals by Frankie Stout. Deadly animals. Animals big and small can hurt and even kill other animals, even people. Deadly animals use their bodies in different ways. Some have sharp horns. Some use their bite to hurt attackers and keep them away. Others use special parts of their body to kill for food. Some animals kill other animals that come too close to them or their young. Many of the world's deadliest animals kill only in defense. Deadly animals are interesting animals. They can be found all over the world. Deadly animals will surprise you with their different shapes, sizes, and abilities. Killer body. The deadliest animals use their body for survival. A strong, deadly body can help an animal get its food or fight off enemies. Some animals have sharp teeth for biting. Other animals have big horns that can cut and rip. Sharp teeth and strong horns are not the only things that make an animal deadly. Many small animals have a different kind of strength. They use powerful poison against their enemies. These animals bite or sting other animals when they feel threatened. For example, the bite of the Sydney funnel web spider can kill a person in 15 minutes. Small but deadly. To defend or feed itself, a small animal may bite or sting another. Deathstalker scorpions, for example, use poison to stop prey from moving. Then they eat the prey. When a bigger animal goes near a deathstalker, the scorpion may sting to defend itself. Some deadly animals do not need to bite to kill. The poison dart frog's skin is so poisonous that most predators will not eat this frog. The deadliest poison dart frog is the golden poison dart frog. This animal lives in Central America. One golden poison dart frog has enough poison to kill 20,000 mice or 100 people. Killer sharks. One of the deadliest animals in the ocean is the bull shark. Bull sharks are large and have a thick body. Male bull sharks can be 7 feet, 2 meters long. They can weigh almost 200 pounds, 90 kilograms. Female bull sharks can be even larger, at 11.5 feet, 3.5 meters, and more than 500 pounds, 227 kilograms. Bull sharks like to spend their time in water that is not too deep. When people or land animals go near the territory of bull sharks, the sharks may attack. Sharks' teeth are sharp, and their mouth can be very large. A shark may grow more than 20,000 teeth in its lifetime. Snakes and snake bites. The black mamba is one of the world's deadliest animals. Though it can kill, a black mamba will try to run away from a predator if it can. Black mambas are some of the fastest snakes in the world. When deadly snakes do bite, though, they can kill quickly. The black mamba's poison can kill a person in 20 minutes. The king cobra is another of the world's deadliest snakes. These large snakes can be fast and aggressive attackers. The poison from one bite of a king cobra can kill 20 people. The king cobra is so poisonous that it can kill an elephant with a single bite. One of the few animals that can kill a king cobra is the mongoose. The mongoose is a small furry mammal that lives in Africa and Asia. Large and deadly. The world's largest reptile is the saltwater crocodile. Reptiles are animals such as turtles, snakes, and lizards. Reptiles are in the same animal class as dinosaurs. Saltwater crocodiles are sometimes called salties. They live in oceans, rivers, and wetlands. Salties are huge. They can be 20 feet, 6 meters long, and weigh 2,205 pounds, 1,000 kilograms. With their huge, strong mouth and as many as 60 teeth, saltwater crocodiles can take giant bites. Some salties may be able to eat animals as large as buffalo. Saltwater crocodiles have been known to eat people, too. The blue-ringed octopus. The blue-ringed octopus is the world's most poisonous octopus. One octopus can have enough poison to kill more than 20 people in minutes. This octopus is very small. Its body is only about 2 inches, 5 centimeters long. The blue-ringed octopus has 2 kinds of poisons. It uses one kind of poison to kill prey, such as shrimp and crab. It uses another kind of poison to defend itself from predators. When a blue-ringed octopus feels threatened, it will change color. Small blue rings show on its body only when the octopus is scared. Natural strengths. Deadly animals kill to survive. This can mean they kill to find food or to defend themselves. Without their giant mouth, which has many teeth, crocodiles could not eat. Small poison dart frogs have poison to guard them from being eaten by most predators. Most people will never run into a cobra or a crocodile. However, learning about deadly animals from books or seeing them in the zoo can be just as exciting as seeing them in the wild. It is also much safer. Killer facts. Mosquitoes are the world's deadliest animal. Mosquito bites can carry an illness called malaria. Malaria kills millions of people all over the world every year. Polar bears can weigh 1,600 pounds, 726 kilograms. Polar bears can kill elephant seals that weigh thousands of pounds. Sharks have as many as 3,000 teeth at one time. Box jellyfish can have as many as 60 tentacles. Each tentacle has enough poison to kill 60 people. T-Rex versus Crocodile by Michael Sabatino. Titanic T-Rex. T-Rex was a huge dinosaur that lived millions of years ago. T-Rex is short for Tyrannosaurus rex, the dinosaur's scientific name. This reptile is famous for being one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs of all time. The mighty T-Rex had a big mouth full of knife-sharp teeth. It hunted other dinosaurs for its meals. However, T-Rex is thought to have been a scavenger as well. This means it fed on animals that were already dead or had been killed by another animal. Cutthroat crocodile. Crocodiles are large meat-eating reptiles that live in the water. Their narrow body and strong tail allow them to swim quickly, chasing after fish. They also hide and wait for prey on land to wander by, then quickly attack and kill. Modern-day crocodiles, or crocs, are very similar to their ancestors that roamed Earth with T-Rex millions of years ago. Like T-Rex, the crocodile has a large mouth full of sharp teeth it uses to tear apart its food. Heavyweights. T-Rex has been extinct for millions of years, but it's still known as one of the fiercest animals ever. Let's see how T-Rex matches up against the crocodile, one of the scariest predators alive. The saltwater, or estuarine crocodile, and the Nile crocodile are the two largest species of crocodile today. T-Rex is twice as long as the longest croc, and more than 7 times as heavy. It looks like the T-Rex is the winner for both size and weight. Armed to the teeth. T-Rex had a fearsome set of nearly 60 sharp teeth of different sizes. All were pointed to easily pierce the thick, tough skin of prey. Some were serrated, like steak knives, to cut it. Some crocodiles have more than 80 cone-shaped teeth. They use them to seize and hold on to larger prey. They can also swallow small animals whole, such as birds and fish. A crocodile has more teeth, but T-Rex's chompers are definitely larger and scarier. However, prey caught by either reptile is dead meat. Chew on this. As if T-Rex's teeth weren't scary enough, prey had to deal with the amazing power of this monster's bite, powerful enough to crush bone. T-Rex probably had the strongest bite of any land animal ever. Today's saltwater crocodile has some powerful jaws, too. In fact, the croc has the most powerful bite of any living animal. T-Rex's bite was more than 3 times as powerful as the crocodile's. T-Rex wins this battle. You still wouldn't want to be near either animal's jaws, though. Speed kills. Scientists have estimated how fast T-Rex was able to run by looking at its fossilized bones. It had strong leg muscles and a powerful tail for balance, but it also had tiny arms that were probably useless in the hunt. It's a good thing T-Rex was fast. Crocodiles can run pretty fast on land, but only for a short distance. A crocodile can really race in the water, though, much faster than the fastest human swimmer. Still, crocs usually ambush their prey. It seems like T-Rex would win in a land race for sure. Scientists think T-Rex could probably swim, too. Could it have been as fast as the speedy crocodile, though? On the attack. Most scientists agree that T-Rex was too large to creep up on its prey without being noticed. Instead, it depended on being able to run faster than prey or on finding animals that were already dead. Scientists aren't sure whether T-Rex hunted alone or in packs. A crocodile hides near the edge of the water. Its eyes and nose can be above the water's surface, while most of the animal is hidden below. When unlucky prey on shore comes by for a drink, the croc lunges to grab it. A crocodile may drag an animal underwater and twist it until it tears into pieces the croc can swallow. Do you think T-Rex was nastier than this when it caught its prey? Lifespan. Figuring out a lifespan, or how long an animal usually lives, isn't easy when that animal is extinct. Scientists use fossils as well as modern-day animals that are distantly related to T-Rex, such as eagles, to learn about the dinosaur's lifespan. Measuring the lifespan of a crocodile in the wild is also hard because they live so long. Scientists know that larger species, such as the saltwater crocodile, live longer than smaller species, such as the dwarf crocodile. Crocodiles win this contest. In fact, some crocs live twice as long as T-Rex. The winner? Now that we know more about these two creatures, which would win if they battled to the death? T-Rex is much larger than the crocodile, but the crocodile has more teeth. T-Rex has a stronger bite, but the croc can ambush prey. It might seem like T-Rex wins in most areas. However, the crocodile is largely unchanged since the time of the dinosaurs. T-Rex has been extinct for millions of years. Does that make the crocodile the real winner? You decide.
Scorpion vs. Black Widow by Katie McEnany. Scary scorpions. Scorpions and spiders might not look related, but they both belong to the arachnid family. Arachnids have bodies with two main segments or parts and 4 pairs of legs. There are around 2,000 species or kinds of scorpions. Scorpions are strong and tough. They can survive harsh weather and attacks from other creatures. They're carnivores, but can live on just one insect per year when food is hard to find. These creepy critters have a stinger at the end of their tail that holds strong venom. Beware the black widow. Black widow spiders are some of the most feared arachnids in the world. Their thick black body and red markings make them easy to spot. Black widows are part of the Latrodectus group, which includes more than 30 species. Latrodectus is Greek for biting in secret. These spiders don't think twice about taking a bite if they're hungry, trapped, or in a fight. They'll even take a bite out of their own kind. Luckily, these web-dwelling carnivores are mostly interested in eating insects. Battle of the arachnids. Could these two arachnids ever run into each other? Let's look at their habitats to find out. Scorpions are known for living in deserts. However, they can also live in rainforests and mountain regions. Black widow spiders like warm, dry climates just like scorpions. These beasts really do meet sometimes. Who would win in a fight between these two awesome arachnids? To find out, we can compare their size, body features, venom, and behaviors. Small but dangerous. In both scorpion and black widow spider species, females are bigger than males. Scorpion size mostly depends on species. The Middle Eastern scorpion is only 0.25 inches, 6 millimeters long, while the flat rock scorpion grows to be more than 8 inches, 20 centimeters. Female black widow spiders are double the size of males. However, all black widows are small and light, so scorpions are usually larger than black widows. However, size might not be that important in this fight. Both scorpions and black widows have some mighty defenses as well as fearsome weapons. Awesome defenses. What are the best defenses of a scorpion and black widow? A hard shell covers a scorpion's body and acts as armors against predators. It also keeps the scorpion safe from sandstorms and even from large amounts of radiation. Black widows also have a special tool for defense, their web. They spin webs out of super strong silk. This web creates a place to hide as well as to trap predators. A black widow's silk is strong enough to trap a scorpion. But if a scorpion is fast enough to sting the black widow, the web won't help the spider. Deadly venom. The strength of a scorpion's venom depends on its species. Most have venom only strong enough to kill insects or spiders. However, there are about 30 species of scorpions with venom strong enough to kill a human. The Indian red scorpion is the most venomous. Black widow venom is very strong and can kill insects and small animals. However, black widow bites don't usually kill humans. Bites can cause pain, stomach ache, and trouble breathing in humans. But don't think the black widow's venom isn't that scary. It turns prey's insides into liquid, so the black widow can slurp it like a milkshake. Beastly body features. Scorpions and black widows have different ways of catching prey. Scorpions have strong claws called pincers or pedipalps that they use like hands. The pincers crush or hold it in place. Scorpions have a stinger at the end of their long tail to inject venom into prey. After a black widow spider's prey gets stuck in its silk web, the spider uses its special back legs with short hairs to wrap prey in silk. Then the black widow uses its fangs, or chelicerae, to inject venom into prey. Both these arachnids have some nasty ways of dealing with prey. What do you think would happen if they used these adaptations against each other? Unlucky prey. Scorpions have a taste for many different creatures. They like to eat insects, lizards, and spiders, such as black widows. A scorpion might even eat a mouse. They either paralyze their prey with venom first, or just chow down. Black widows use their webs to catch flying insects, such as flies, moths, beetles, and mosquitoes. They may also eat caterpillars that crawl into their trap, or grasshoppers that hop their way. They're known to eat scorpions too. So black widows sometimes eat, and scorpions sometimes eat black widows. This bizarre beast battle may happen more often than we thought. And the winner is? We've compared the adaptations and behaviors of black widow spiders and scorpions. Scorpions trap prey in their deadly pincers, while black widows trap prey in their steel-strong webs. A scorpion strikes with its venomous tail, and the black widow's bite can turn guts to liquid. Both have enough venom to kill each other. So who would win in a fight? The outcome might change with each pair of animals. They're both deadly predators ready to kill. Hammerhead Sharks by Merrill Magby. Heads like hammers. Sharks are some of the most dangerous animals in Earth's oceans. They are fast swimmers with sharp teeth and powerful jaws. Some sharks are at the top of the ocean's food chain. However, there is one family of sharks that looks very different from other sharks. The sharks in this family have wide, flat heads that look like double-sided hammers or shovels. These sharks are called hammerheads. Hammerhead sharks are related to other sharks, including the great white shark, blue shark, and tiger shark. Sharks in the hammerhead family include great hammerheads, scalloped hammerheads, and smooth hammerheads. Where hammerheads live. Hammerhead sharks are found in warm and tropical ocean waters all over the world. They stay mostly in the parts of the ocean near the coasts of continents and islands where the water is not as deep as in the open. Hammerheads often live in habitats such as coral reefs, lagoons, bays, and estuaries. They are also found far from shore, where the water is somewhat deeper. However, they are rarely seen in the very deep water of the open ocean. Hammerhead sharks often migrate in the summer to find cooler waters. 5 kinds of fins. Sharks such as hammerheads are fish. This means that they are cold-blooded and breathe underwater using gills. However, unlike most fish, sharks have skeletons that are made of cartilage instead of bones. Hammerhead sharks' eyes and nostrils are at the far ends of their flat, wide heads. They have small mouths filled with rows of sharp teeth. Hammerheads have 5 different kinds of fins. Their tails, called caudal fins, push them forward. The fins at the fronts of their bodies, called pectoral fins, help lift them up. The rest of the hammerhead's fins, including the dorsal fins at the tops of their bodies, keep them steady as they swim. Helpful heads. There are 9 different species of hammerhead sharks. The largest species is the great hammerhead. Adult great hammerheads can be more than 20 feet, 6 meters long. The smallest species is the bonnethead. These sharks grow to be about 5 feet, 1.5 meters long. Scientists think that the shape of their heads might make it easier for hammerheads to swim or make sharp turns. They also think that hammerheads are able to see in a full circle around their bodies. Hammerheads also have special sense organs spread out over their wide heads. These help hammerheads find their prey. Friendly sharks? Many species of sharks are not social animals. This means they live alone and are not friendly toward each other. However, hammerhead sharks can be social, and form groups or schools of many hammerheads. Hammerheads generally travel in schools when they migrate to cooler waters during the summer months. Most species of hammerhead sharks are not dangerous to humans. This is because most hammerhead species are small and not aggressive toward people. However, the larger great hammerhead is a dangerous predator. Great hammerheads have rarely attacked humans, but swimmers should still be careful around them. Hunting for food. Hammerhead sharks are good hunters. They have very good vision because their eyes are so far apart. Their sense organs also tell them if prey is nearby. Some hammerheads have also been seen using their wide heads to beat their prey and hold them down. They hunt mostly at dusk. Hammerheads feed on bony fish, crustaceans, squid, and sometimes even other sharks. However, their favorite food is thought to be stingrays. Hammerheads use their sense organs to find stingrays hiding in the sand on the ocean floor. Then they eat the whole stingray, including its poisonous barbed tail. Live births. Scientists have not been able to learn a lot about how hammerheads mate. This is because it is thought that many shark species mate at the bottom of the ocean. All hammerhead sharks give birth to live babies. Most other fish lay eggs. After male and female hammerheads have mated, the female gives birth about 10 to 12 months later. Shark babies are called pups. Hammerheads are born in a group of between 6 and 42 pups, called a litter. Pups are about 2 feet, 61 centimeters long when they are born. Hunters of hammerheads. Larger sharks hunt small species of hammerheads and young great hammerheads. However, adult great hammerheads have no animal predators. Humans are hunters of hammerhead sharks, though. People fish for many species of hammerheads, such as great hammerheads and scalloped hammerheads. They sell them for their fins, oil, and skins. Hammerheads are also caught for sport. Fishermen use long lines, bottom nets, hooks and lines, and trawls to catch great hammerheads. In the United States, scientists are afraid that large coastal fish species, such as hammerheads, are being overfished. This means that the total number of hammerheads is getting smaller, keeping hammerheads safe. Scientists are afraid that the number of hammerhead sharks is getting smaller. This is because too many people may be catching and killing hammerheads. In fact, the great hammerhead and the scalloped hammerhead are already endangered. However, people can keep hammerhead sharks from dying out. Fishing less and keeping the oceans clean can help hammerhead numbers grow for years to come.
Tell me the difference between a frog and a toad, by Lee Rockwood.
Let's look at frogs and toads. Frogs and toads are amphibians that belong to a scientific order or grouping called Anura. This is the most widespread order of amphibians. There are around 4,000 species of amphibians in this order. Because they belong to the same order, frogs and toads have many things in common. These similarities can make it hard to tell the difference between a toad and a frog. Some frogs even have the word toad in their common names. This book will teach you more about frogs and toads, including how to tell these amphibians apart. True frogs, true toads. When you hear the word frog or toad, the animals that you think of are likely what scientists call true frogs and true toads. True means that the animal fits within the scientific classification of what a frog or a toad is. True frogs belong to the Ranidae family, which has about 600 species in it. Bullfrogs, wood frogs, and leopard frogs are true frogs. True toads belong to the Bufonidae family, which has about 350 species. American toads, green toads, and Great Plains toads are true toads. Tree frogs and spadefoot toads are two examples of frogs and toads that are not true frogs and toads. How are frogs and toads alike? Frogs and toads have lots of things in common. Both of these animals begin their lives in the water and breathe with gills. As they mature into adulthood, frogs and toads breathe air with their lungs and live on land. This amazing change frogs and toads undergo is called a metamorphosis. The name amphibian means two lives and refers to the change these animals undergo in their lives. Frogs and toads' bodies are similar too. Known to be excellent jumpers, their hind legs are longer than their front legs. They also have squat bodies with short backbones. It's in the skin. One way to tell a frog from a toad is to take a closer look at the animal's skin. Frogs have smooth, moist skin. They can take in water and oxygen through this moist skin. To keep their skin from drying out, Frogs are more likely to live close to water. Toads can live farther away from water than frogs can. This is because they have thicker, dry skin. Their skin is also often warty or bumpy. Toads also have special glands near each eye. These glands let out a poison that keeps many predators from eating the toad. What's for dinner? Frogs and toads have a similar diet. They eat insects, worms, slugs, and spiders. Larger frogs and toads also eat mice and other small animals. In Australia, the cane toad is an invasive species that is known for eating pet food from bowls that have been left outside. Frogs and toads use their eyesight to sense moving prey. Then, with a flick of its long, sticky tongue, the frog or toad captures its dinner and swallows it. Frogs have weak teeth in their upper jaws that they can use to hold on to or crush food if they need to, but toads do not. Look at the legs. Another place you can find differences between frogs and toads is their legs. Frogs have long, powerful hind legs that are built for jumping. They can jump as much as 20 times the length of their bodies. Most true frogs have webbed feet. These help the frog move through the water better. Toads have shorter legs and move by walking with the occasional short hop. Depending on the species, a true toad's feet may be slightly webbed, or they may have completely separated toes. Home sweet home. Frogs are native to every continent except for Antarctica. They live in habitats that are near ponds and lakes or other bodies of fresh water. Toads are native to every continent except Antarctica and Australia. They live in a wider range of habitats than frogs, from forests to grasslands and even some deserts. Frogs and toads are cold-blooded, meaning that their body temperature is the same as the temperature of their surroundings. Species that live where it gets cold become dormant or inactive during the winter in order to survive. They will burrow into the ground and stay there until the weather gets warm again in the spring. Baby frogs and toads. As all amphibians do, frogs and toads mate and lay their eggs in the water. Female frogs tend to lay their eggs in clusters, while female toads generally lay eggs in chain-like formations. When the eggs hatch, the babies or tadpoles look like fish that are made of heads and tails. As the tadpole goes through its metamorphosis, it begins to grow legs. The rest of its body absorbs the tail. The tadpole develops lungs and loses its gills. All of the changes that turn a tadpole into a frog or toad take place over just 3 to 4 months. Now you know. The next time you visit a zoo, go to the amphibian house so you can look at different toads and frogs up close. Do you now know how to tell the difference? Many frogs and toads are plentiful. Others, like the California red-legged frog, are in trouble. The scientists who study amphibians help us learn about how to keep frog and toad populations balanced so these animals will continue to thrive.
Yaks by Willow Clark. Hello, yak. The yak is an animal that belongs to the same scientific family as cows and bison. Like bison, yaks have shaggy hair that helps keep them warm in their cold habitat. There are both wild and domestic yaks. Domestic yaks are smaller than wild yaks. They are used to do farm work, kept for their milk and meat, and their hair is used to make wool. Today, domestic yaks are plentiful, but the number of wild yaks is falling. This book will explain why and teach you about this Asian animal. A mountain animal. Wild yaks live in northern India and the Tibetan Plateau. The Tibetan Plateau includes the regions of Tibet, Gansu, Qinghai, and Xinjiang in China. Wild yaks once lived in Nepal and Bhutan too. Today, they are considered extinct in these countries because they do not live there anymore. The Tibetan Plateau is a high plain surrounded by mountain ranges. It has an average elevation of about 14,800 feet, 4,500 meters. This elevation is so high that it earned the plateau and the surrounding mountains a nickname. They are called the roof of the world. Keeping cool. The wild yak's habitat ranges from mountainous tundra to mountain meadows to cold deserts. The climate in these places is often cold and dry. Not much grows in this climate except mosses and lichens. These make up a large part of the yak's diet. Yaks migrate with the seasons. In the winter, they often come to lower elevations where more vegetation is growing. As the weather warms in the summer, they move back up to where it is colder. Yaks do not like hot weather, but they can stand temperatures that are colder than -40 degrees Fahrenheit, -40 degrees Celsius. The yak's fur. The wild yak has a big body. It can be up to 11 feet, 3 meters long, and stand up to 6 feet, 2 meters tall at its humped shoulders. It weighs up to 1,800 pounds, 820 kilograms. The domestic yak is smaller. Both wild and domestic female yaks weigh 1/3 to 1/2 as much as males. The yak's fur is long, thick, and shaggy. In the winter, yaks grow short, thick undercoats that keep them warm. The wild yak's fur is dark brown or black. Domestic yaks can have red, brown, black, or multicolored fur. Horns and hooves. The yak's horns and hooves are adaptations that help the animal live well in its habitat. Both male and female yaks have curved horns. The male's horns can be up to twice as long as the female's horns, though. The horns are hard and strong. Yaks use them to break through snow and ice so they can graze on the plants underneath. Yaks might look like big, awkward animals. The yak's short legs and wide hooves allow it to climb snowy, rocky slopes without slipping, though. Yaks also use their hard hooves to dig for food. Part of the herd. Like their cow cousins, yaks often travel together in groups called herds. A herd can have from 10 to more than 100 yaks. The herd is made up of mostly females and their young, and very few adult males. Forming a herd helps protect the young from predators. The herd is not a fixed group. Smaller herds sometimes come together for a while. Larger herds may split into smaller groups. Adult male yaks sometimes leave the herd to graze on their own. At other times, they form small groups with other adult males. This kind of group is called a bachelor herd. What's for lunch? Yaks are herbivores. This means that they eat only plants. They graze on the grasses, shrubs, mosses, lichens, and other vegetation that grows in their habitat. Like their cow cousins, yaks have a special way to digest or break down their food. First, they swallow their food without chewing it. After one part of their stomach breaks down the food a little bit, the partly digested food, or cud, goes back into the mouth. The yak then chews, swallows, and digests the cud. This special way of eating allows yaks to get all of the nutrients they can out of the food they eat. Watch out, yak! The main predator of both wild yaks and domestic yaks is the Tibetan wolf. This is a type of wolf found throughout Central Asia. Other, less common yak predators are snow leopards and brown bears. People also hunt wild yaks for their meat. This hunting is often done illegally and is known as poaching. When a herd of wild yaks sense danger, they will most often try to run away. If their escape route is blocked, yaks may also charge toward what is threatening them. They do this to try to scare the predator away. Baby yaks. The wild yak's mating season starts in September and lasts for a few weeks. During that time, male yaks will look for female herds. The males will fight each other for the chance to mate with females. Baby yaks, or calves, are generally born in June. The calves can stand and walk within a few hours after being born. Mothers nurse and care for their calves for about a year, after which a young yak is big enough to take care of itself. Yaks are full-grown adults at around 6 to 8 years of age. The wild yak's lifespan is about 20 years. Wild yaks in trouble. Wild yaks are considered a vulnerable species. That is because their numbers have dropped by about one-third over the past 30 years. One of the threats to wild yaks is habitat loss caused by the spread of farms with herds of livestock. Wild yaks will move away from places where people and livestock live. Another threat to wild yaks is poaching. Laws in China and India now protect wild yaks. It is hoped that better enforcement of these laws will keep the wild yak safe from becoming endangered or extinct.
Burmese Pythons by Willow Clark. Hello, Python. The Burmese python is one of the world's largest snakes. This snake is one of two subspecies of the Indian python. A subspecies is a smaller group within a species. The Burmese python lives in South Asia and Southeast Asia. These snakes are known for their beautifully patterned skin, which makes them popular as pets. Like other pythons, the Burmese python is a constrictor. That means that instead of killing prey with a venomous bite, pythons kill their prey by squeezing it. Where in the world? Burmese pythons get their name from Burma, one of the countries to which they are native. Today, this country is called Myanmar. Burmese pythons are also found in Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and southern China. Across its range, the Burmese python lives mostly in rainforests. It can live in other kinds of habitats if there's water, though. Burmese pythons are also found in grasslands and swamps, in the trees and on the ground. Young Burmese pythons spend a lot of time in trees. As they grow and get heavier, tree climbing becomes harder, and adults spend most of their time on the ground. Burmese pythons are also great swimmers. They can stay underwater for up to 30 minutes at a time. Throughout much of the Burmese python's range, the climate is warm year-round. In the northern parts of its range, the weather cools between October and February, though. During this time, Burmese pythons will burmate in a hollow tree, under rocks, or in a hole in the ground. A really big snake. Burmese pythons are one of the world's biggest snakes. They can grow to be up to 23 feet, 7 meters long, and weigh up to 200 pounds, 90 kilograms. A full-grown snake might be as thick as a telephone pole at its widest point. Due to their size, Burmese pythons find it easiest to move forward in a straight line. They use their ribs for support and use their belly scales to push themselves forward. This is not a very fast way to move. Burmese pythons can move only about 1 mile per hour, 2 kilometers per hour. Snake scales. Like other snakes, Burmese pythons are reptiles. Reptiles are cold-blooded animals that breathe air and have skin that is covered in scales. A cold-blooded animal is one that has a body temperature that is close to the temperature of its surroundings. This is why you sometimes see a snake sunning itself to warm up. Burmese pythons may be tan, yellowish-brown, or gray. They have patterns of markings that run the length of their bodies. Pet snakes are sometimes bred to be lighter than snakes in the wild. You might see yellow or even white Burmese pythons in a pet store. Hunting for food. When you see a snake like the Burmese python flicking its tongue in and out of its mouth, it is smelling the air. A snake's sense of smell is its strongest sense. It uses this sense to hunt for prey. Smells are carried by the tongue to a special organ in the roof of the snake's mouth. This special body part is called the Jacobson's organ. Burmese pythons also have heat-sensing pits along their jawlines. These pits let the snakes sense the body heat of nearby animals. Jacobson's organs and heat-sensing pits help Burmese pythons find prey in thick foliage and even in the dark. A squeeze. The Burmese python is an ambush hunter. That means these snakes do not chase prey, but catch it by surprise. Constrictors, like the Burmese python, do not have fangs, as do venomous snakes. Instead of fangs, pythons have teeth that curve backward. These teeth help the python grab and hold on to prey so it can start constricting. When a Burmese python constricts its prey, it wraps its body around the animal and squeezes it tight. Constriction does not crush the prey or break its bones. The tight squeeze makes it so the animal cannot breathe, which kills the prey. What's for lunch? Burmese pythons are carnivores. That means that they eat other animals. Their diet is made up mostly of small mammals and birds. They do not eat every day, so these snakes make every meal count. After it catches its prey, the Burmese python unhinges its jaw and begins to swallow the animal whole. This allows it to swallow prey that is several times larger than its head. Next, the python's strong body muscles pull the food down the snake's throat and into its stomach. It will spend the next few days sunning itself and digesting its meal. Baby pythons. Burmese pythons are ready to mate when they are 7 to 9 feet, 2 to 3 meters long. The size is generally reached by the snake between the ages of 4 and 5. After mating, the female lays around 35 eggs. She then coils around her eggs and stays with them until they hatch about 2 months later. If the temperature gets chilly, the mother can warm up her eggs by using her muscles to make shivering movements around the eggs. The mother leaves once the baby pythons hatch, and they must take care of themselves. Burmese pythons in trouble. The Burmese python is a widespread species, but its numbers are falling. Endangered. One reason that Burmese pythons are in trouble is habitat loss. People hunt Burmese pythons for their skin and their meat, and the snake is also a popular exotic pet. Some countries now have laws that protect these big snakes so that they will be around for years to come.
Hyenas by Julia J. Quinlan. Meet the hyena. Hyenas are fast animals with powerful jaws. They can defend themselves against animals that are much bigger than they are. Some hyenas gang up to fight other animals. Hyenas are vicious fighters and have been known to attack people. There are 3 species known as hyenas. They are the spotted hyena, the brown hyena, and the striped hyena. Each species looks and acts a bit differently. Along with an animal called the aardwolf, these species make up the hyena family. Hyenas share traits with both cats and dogs, but their closest relatives are mongooses and meerkats, spotted, striped, or brown. Every species of hyena is found in Africa. Striped hyenas also live in the Middle East and other parts of Asia. Brown hyenas have long, coarse brown fur. They have bushy tails and long, pointed ears. As all hyenas do, they have long front legs and short back legs. Striped hyenas can be gray, brown, or golden yellow. They have black stripes similar to a zebra's. They can weigh as much as 121 pounds, 55 kilograms. Spotted hyenas have light brown fur with dark brown spots. They are the biggest hyenas. They have rounded ears and short, coarse fur. Growing up. Female hyenas give birth to between 1 and 4 cubs at a time. Hyena cubs drink their mother's milk. After a month or so, they also eat meat. Spotted hyenas are born with their eyes open and with some of their teeth. Striped hyenas are born blind. Their eyes open after about a week. Striped hyena mothers raise their cubs alone. Brown hyena cubs are cared for by their whole clan or group. Spotted hyenas are often born in special dens, away from the rest of their clan. They join the clan den when they are a few weeks old. Hungry spotted hyenas. Spotted hyenas are not picky eaters. They eat mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. They also eat garbage left behind by people and the dung of other animals. Usually, spotted hyenas hunt their prey and kill it themselves. Sometimes they hunt in groups of 2 to 5. They will also eat animals that have been killed by other predators or have died from other causes. Spotted hyenas have very strong jaws and sharp teeth that they use to kill their prey. They are fast runners. When hunting in groups, hyenas will run together and surround their prey before attacking it. Ferocious hyenas. Spotted hyenas are tough. They fight fiercely to defend or steal kills. Their jaws crush bones easily. Special fluids in their stomachs let them digest bones, hair, skin, and teeth. Even cubs are ferocious. They often kill weaker cubs. Working together. Spotted hyena clans can be very large. They may have as many as 90 hyenas. The females are the heads of the clan. Hyenas fight with each other for dominance over the clan. The female that wins the most fights is the clan's leader. The female hyena that has lost the most fights is still above the male hyena that has won the most fights. Spotted hyenas are known for making a sound that sounds just like laughter. In fact, hyenas make many sounds. Each sound means something different. Less powerful hyenas make giggling sounds when faced with dominant clan members. Striped hyenas. Striped hyenas scavenge more than they hunt. They eat mostly animals that were killed by other predators, such as spotted hyenas and lions. Vegetables, fruits, and waste left by humans are also part of their diet. Striped hyenas sometimes hunt smaller animals. They usually hunt or scavenge at night. Striped hyenas don't live in very large groups. At most, 4 hyenas will live together. They almost always scavenge and hunt alone. Mother hyenas will sometimes look for food with their cubs. Striped hyenas are quieter than other hyena species. Cubs make noises, but adults are mostly silent. Brown hyenas. Brown hyenas scavenge for food alone and at night. Besides dead animals, brown hyenas also eat fruit, birds' eggs, and insects. Rarely they will kill and eat a small animal. Brown hyenas live in small clans that are usually made up of one female and her cubs, or a couple of females and their cubs. Male hyenas will either go off on their own, remain with the clan they grew up with, or join a new clan. Brown hyenas are generally quiet unless they are fighting. All hyenas have scent glands. Brown hyenas use these glands to communicate with other hyenas. They leave their scent in different places. Fighting hyenas. Spotted hyenas compete with lions, leopards, and cheetahs for food. Even though lions are larger than spotted hyenas, the hyenas can sometimes fight off a lion if enough of their clan is present. Spotted hyenas are more evenly matched with cheetahs and leopards. Spotted hyenas can beat striped hyenas and brown hyenas in fights. These smaller hyenas are no match for lions either. Hyenas have powerful jaws, teeth, and claws that they can use in a fight. For example, the pressure of an adult striped hyena's bite can be up to 800 pounds per square inch, 56 kilograms per square centimeter. Protecting hyenas. Hyenas and humans do not have a very good relationship. Many farmers dislike hyenas because they kill and eat livestock. Lately, more people have moved into areas where hyenas live. This causes problems between people and hyenas. People poison, trap, and shoot hyenas. In some areas, certain hyena species are threatened and even endangered. This is mainly because there is not enough land for them to live on. Luckily, there are many people and groups that work to protect hyenas.
Wild Boars by Julia J. Quinlan. Tough pigs. Wild boars go by many different names. They are known as razorbacks, wild pigs, and wild swine. People call them different things depending on where they live. Wild boars are related to the pigs found on farms. They are not pink or cute, though. Wild boars are big, scary pigs. Wild boars can be found in many different places. Wherever they are, people have to be careful not to get in their way. Wild boars are brave. They do not run away when they are threatened. They stay and fight. They use their size and sharp tusks to defend themselves. Wild boars everywhere. Wild boars are one of the most widely distributed animals. That means they live in more places than most animals. Wild boars were originally found in Europe, Asia, and North Africa. Over time, people brought them to other places. Wild boars now live in South America, North America, South Africa, and many other places. Wild boars live in many habitats, such as forests, woodlands, shrubland, grasslands, and farmland. Wild boars like to live in places that are not too hot and not too cold. They also like to live in places that get a good amount of rain, tusks, and more. Wild boars are very large. They tend to weigh between 110 and 770 pounds, 50 to 349 kilograms. They can be 20 to 36 inches, 51 to 91 centimeters tall. Male wild boars are usually larger than females. Wild boars have coarse, wiry hair that can be dark gray to brown. Boars have snouts and ears like farm pigs do. They also have tails. Their tails vary in length. Wild boars have tusks that grow larger as they age. Most wild boars have 4 tusks that grow from their jaws. The tusks are very sharp. Males have much larger teeth than females do. Boars living together. A group of wild boars is called a sounder. Sounders usually have about 6 to 20 boars, but can have as many as 100. Sounders are made up of female wild boars and their young. Sounders travel together in their home range. Adult male wild boars live alone and have a much wider home range than sounders do. Wild boars communicate with each other using squeals and snorts. Wild boars have very strong senses of smell and taste. Scientists think wild boars do not have very good eyesight. Their eyes are on the sides of their faces, so they cannot see forward very well. Ferocious wild boars. Wild boars are tough fighters. They fearlessly charge at animals with which they are fighting. Wild boars are known for goring their opponents or stabbing them with their sharp tusks. They have even been known to kill people who were hunting them. Piglets and growing up. During mating season, male wild boars fight each other over female wild boars. These fights can get very violent. Male boars that win more fights get to mate with more females. Wild boars mate at different times depending on where they live. Female wild boars give birth to litters of 1 to 12 piglets. Wild boars give birth in special nests made of grass. Piglets stay with their mothers for up to a year. They drink milk from their mothers for the first 3 to 4 months. Mother wild boars are very protective of their young. Not picky eaters. Wild boars eat almost anything. They eat insects, reptiles, fungi, eggs, vegetables, and much more. Wild boars are particularly fond of fruit. They will eat the bodies of dead animals as well as dung. They use their strong sense of smell to track down food. They sometimes use their sharp hooves to dig for food. Wild boars will gather together to eat. Even adult males that live on their own will sometimes eat with other boars. Wild boars' ability to eat anything has helped them live in so many places. They can always find something that they like to eat. Predators. Wild boars have different predators depending on where they live. Crocodiles, bears, and large cats have been known to kill adult wild boars. Piglets are at the greatest risk of being killed by predators. Mother wild boars fight fiercely to protect their piglets. However, wolves, large birds, and snakes sometimes kill piglets. Wild boars are very aggressive when threatened. Females are most aggressive when their piglets are around. Males are most aggressive during the mating season. They try to stab enemies with their sharp tusks. They sharpen their tusks by rubbing the upper tusks against the lower tusks. Boars and people. Humans are the main predators of wild boars. People hunt wild boars for food and sport. Wild boar meat is popular in some countries. In these countries, there are farms where wild boars are raised for food. Wild boar meat can be quite expensive. Wild boars died out in England, but were brought back and now live there again. Wild boars were accidentally introduced to Canada and the United States. They're an invasive species. Invasive species are bad for the animals and plants that naturally live in a place. Wild boars in North America are often hunted to control their populations. Seemingly safe. Wild boars are not endangered. Overall, their population numbers are high. However, wild boar populations are shrinking in some areas. Wild boars could become threatened in those places. Wild boars can live in many habitats and will eat just about anything. These ferocious pigs should not be messed with. Because they are so tough, people sometimes forget that some populations of wild boars need to be protected. Luckily, there are several national parks and nature reserves where they can live in their natural habitats.
Eagles. by Rosemary Jennings. Top of the food chain. In 1782, the bald eagle became the national symbol of the United States. The bald eagle may be the most familiar eagle, but there are about 60 species or kinds of eagles in the world. Though they have differences, all eagles have one important thing in common. They're raptors. Eagles are large birds of prey. With their keen eyes, sharp claws, and powerful wings, eagles have no problem holding their place at the top of the food chain. The raptor family. What is a raptor? A raptor is a special kind of bird. Eagles, owls, hawks, vultures, buzzards, and falcons belong to this family. Raptors have all the features you think of when you think of birds, such as wings and feathers. But there are some features that set them apart from other birds. Raptors are carnivores. That means they only eat meat. Raptors also have a hooked beak, sharp claws called talons, and good eyesight and hearing. These features help them do what they do best: hunt. Where eagles fly. One of the most recognizable raptors. They're members of the bird family called Accipitridae, which also includes hawks. There are 250 species within this family. Eagles live all over the world, but most species are found in Europe and Asia. 9 species live in Central America and South America, and 3 species live in Australia. Only 2 eagle species live in the United States and Canada. They're the bald eagle and the golden eagle. This book will focus on these eagle species. Eagle habitats. As expert hunters, eagles live in places where it's easy to find food. Bald eagles commonly live in forested areas near rivers, lakes, and other large bodies of water, such as reservoirs. They've also been seen around marshes and coastlines. Golden eagles' habitats are a little different. They mostly live in mountains that are up to 12,000 feet, 3,658 meters tall. They also live in canyons and along cliffs. They like big areas of open land, too. Big, beautiful birds. There's no mistaking a bald eagle when you see one. Its head is covered in white feathers that make it look bald. The feathers that cover its body are brown. Its eyes, feet, and beak are yellow. A bald eagle's wingspan measures between 6.5 feet, 2 meters, and 8 feet, 2.4 meters. A golden eagle has dark brown feathers on its body and golden feathers on its head and neck. Its wingspan measures between 6 feet, 1.8 meters, and 7.5 feet, 2.3 meters. Bald eagles and golden eagles are some of the biggest birds in North America. Eagle eyes. Have you ever heard the term eagle eyes? That refers to the bald eagle's eyesight. It's excellent. Bald eagles can spot tiny prey from about 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers away, and they see at least 4 times better than humans. They mainly eat fish. When the bald eagle sees its dinner, it can reach speeds of up to 200 miles, 322 kilometers per hour to dive at it. It scoops the prey out of the water with its sharp claws. Then when it settles down to eat, the bald eagle uses its beak to tear apart the animal's flesh. Top predator. Bald eagles are sometimes thought of as scavengers. Golden eagles, on the other hand, are always thought of as predators. This bird hunts by soaring high in the sky, but flies low when it's hunting along mountain slopes. It will also perch in a high location and search for prey on the ground. When a golden eagle spots prey, it dives at speeds up to 150 miles, 241 kilometers per hour. The golden eagle's sharp talons help it carry away its catch. Golden eagles eat rabbits, squirrels, birds, lizards, bugs, and sometimes dead animals. From the eagle's nest. Like most bird species, eagles build nests. They build their nests high in the air. Both bald eagles and golden eagles build nests in tall trees or on cliffs along the sides of mountains. Bald eagle nests are close to water, while golden eagle nests are near where they hunt. Bald eagles use sticks and twigs to create their nest. Both the male and female help build it. Golden eagles build a nest of sticks and line it with grass, leaves, and other soft plants. Both kinds of eagles use their nest for many years. Baby eagles. Eagles use their nest for laying eggs. Bald eagles lay 2 or 3 eggs at a time. The eggs are white and take about 35 days to hatch. Golden eagles lay around 3 eggs at a time. The eggs are white with brown markings and take about 45 days to hatch. Eagle parents must bring babies food since the young can't fly or hunt yet. Both bald eagle parents hunt. Female golden eagles stay with their babies at first, while the male hunts. Both kinds of baby eagles leave the nest when they're around 2 or 3 months old. Majestic creatures. As the symbol of the United States, the bald eagle stands for strength and freedom. The golden eagle was important to some Native American tribes throughout history. They felt it was strong and had magical powers. For a long time, bald eagles were in danger of dying out. Laws were passed to protect them, and the number of bald eagles in the wild is growing. There are also laws to protect golden eagles from harm. It's important to respect these majestic creatures.
Tasmanian Devils by Julia J. Quinlan. Meet the Tasmanian Devil. The very name Tasmanian Devil sounds scary. Tasmanian devils got their name from European explorers. The animal's frightening shrieks and bad tempers reminded the explorers of devils in stories. Tasmanian devils live only on the island of Tasmania. Tasmania is part of Australia. It is located off the southeastern coast of mainland Australia. Tasmanian devils are marsupials, just like kangaroos and koalas. They carry their young in pouches. Unlike koalas and kangaroos, Tasmanian devils are vicious carnivores. They show their sharp teeth and growl when they are threatened or fighting for food. These small marsupials are truly ferocious. The island of Tasmania. Tasmania is not very big compared to Australia. However, it has many habitats. There are rainforests, grasslands, and eucalyptus forests. There are also beaches. Tasmania is home to many animals and plants that live nowhere else. At one time, an animal called the Tasmanian tiger lived there. The Tasmanian tiger was not actually a tiger. It was a carnivorous marsupial, like the Tasmanian devil. Tasmanian devils once lived on the mainland of Australia and other islands nearby. They now live only on Tasmania. Tasmanian devils live all over Tasmania, but like to be by the coast or in forests the most. Furry, but not cuddly. Tasmanian devils are not very big. They can grow to be 20 to 31 inches, 51 to 79 centimeters long. Their tails are about 10 inches, 26 centimeters long. Devils weigh between 9 and 26 pounds, 4 to 12 kilograms. They have black or brown fur. Many devils also have white patches or stripes on their chests or sides. Devils are very stocky. They have large heads with very strong jaws. The Tasmanian devil has one of the most powerful bites of any animal. Tasmanian devils make a stinky smell. They use this smell to scare away other animals. Baby devils. Tasmanian devils are marsupials. Marsupials are different from other mammals. Marsupial babies are very tiny when they are born. The newborn babies crawl into their mother's pouches. They stay there and drink their mother's milk until they are big enough to come out. Tasmanian devils can have up to 50 babies at once. However, no more than 4 will survive. Female Tasmanian devils have only 4 teats for babies to drink milk from. Baby Tasmanian devils are called joeys or pups. Joeys come out of the pouch when they are 4 months old. They leave their mothers at 8 months old. Ferocious Tasmanian devils. Tasmanian devils often fight when they see each other. Males fight over which one gets to mate with females. Females fight off small males that want to mate with them. When several devils find a meal, they fight over who will eat first. Lone wanderers. Tasmanian devils are most active at night, but do like to sit in the sun sometimes. They spend most of their time alone. However, male and female Tasmanian devils do come together to mate or make babies. Tasmanian devils live in dens. They make their dens in burrows, trees, or caves. Tasmanian devils travel around a lot and have several dens that they live in. Scientists believe that they keep the same dens for their whole lives. They have home ranges, or areas where they roam. Their home ranges cover an average of 5 square miles, 13 square kilometers. Carnivorous marsupials. Tasmanian devils are mostly scavengers. They often eat dead animals. They feed on sheep, cattle, and other dead animals that they find. Sometimes Tasmanian devils come together to feed on the carcass of an animal. They will also eat trash that people leave behind. They hunt small mammals, reptiles, and insects too. Tasmanian devils have very strong senses of smell. They use their noses to track down food. Their strong teeth and jaws bite through bone. When Tasmanian devils eat an animal, they eat the whole thing. This even includes the bones, hair, and organs. What would eat a devil? Before they died out, Tasmanian tigers hunted Tasmanian devils. Today, adult Tasmanian devils do not have many predators. Eagles and owls will catch and eat young Tasmanian devils. Sometimes, larger Tasmanian devils eat smaller devils. Younger devils climb trees to escape older, larger devils. The larger devils are not as good at climbing as younger devils are. When devils are threatened, they make growling sounds. Their ears may turn bright red when they are excited or angry. If they need to fight, devils use their sharp teeth. Devils are more likely to run away than fight, though. Endangered. Tasmanian devils were hunted almost to extinction by early European settlers. They did not like devils because they thought they were eating their livestock. Now, devils are protected. Even though Tasmanian devils are no longer killed by humans, they are endangered. Many Tasmanian devils have died from a sickness called devil facial tumor disease, or DFTD. Since scientists learned about the disease in 1996, the devil population has gone down 80%. Doctors and scientists are trying to find a cure for the disease and had success so far. The devils get sick from biting each other. Saving the Tasmanian devil. The people of Tasmania and the rest of Australia love Tasmanian devils. Devils are one of the symbols of Australia and Tasmania. People are working hard to save the Tasmanian devil. Unfortunately, their future is not looking very good. Hopefully, scientists will discover a cure for devil facial tumor disease. Most people think Tasmanian devils are dangerous and crazy. However, devils are not dangerous to people. In fact, they are an important part of the ecosystem of Tasmania.
Dingoes by Julia J. Quinlan. Wild dogs. At first glance, dingoes might look like regular dogs. However, they are quite different. Dingoes are wild dogs that have evolved to be fierce hunters and fighters. They can survive in the harshest habitats. They are ferocious predators that hunt animals of any size. They use their speed, strong jaws, and sharp teeth to catch and kill their prey. Dingoes are related to the dogs that people keep as pets. Some people do keep dingoes as pets, but they need a lot of training in order to be safe around humans. Dingoes are best suited to the wild parts of Australia. Where do dingoes live? Dingoes are most famous for living in Australia. However, they also live in parts of Southeast Asia. There are dingoes in Thailand and Malaysia. The dingoes that live in Australia are descended from Asian dingoes that were brought over by seafarers. Dingoes first came to Australia over 3,500 years ago. Dingoes live in every Australian state except Tasmania, which is an island off Australia's southeast coast. They can live in almost any habitat. They can be found in hot deserts, wet rainforests, and on snowy mountains. Dingoes are tough enough to live anywhere. Furry and ferocious. Dingoes look similar to regular dogs. They can be up to 2 feet, 60 centimeters tall, and 4 feet, 1 meter long. Dingoes have bushy tails that are about 12 inches, 30 centimeters long. Dingoes weigh between 22 and 30 pounds, 10 to 14 kilograms. Most dingoes have golden or reddish fur. Some have black or brown fur. Dingoes usually have lighter fur on their bellies. They have big, perky ears and dark, almond-shaped eyes. Dingoes look like the kind of dog you might want to go up to and pet, but don't let their howling packs. Dingoes often live together in groups called packs. A pack can have up to 10 dingoes. 1 male and 1 female dingo lead each pack. These two are the dominant dingoes in the pack. Packs have territories where they live and hunt. The size of the territory depends on where they live and how easy it is to find food. Dingoes communicate with each other through howls. Dingoes howl to find other dingoes and to scare away dingoes that are not pack members. Dingo packs often howl together. Dingoes do not bark often, as domesticated dogs do. Dingoes also communicate through scent marking. Ferocious dingoes. Dingoes will fight large prey, such as the lace monitor here. Dingoes also fight with dingoes from other packs. You wouldn't want to fight a dingo. Dingoes can be dangerous to humans. They have been known to attack people and even kill children. Dingo pups. Dingo babies are called pups. Female dingoes give birth to a litter of around 5 pups. Dingoes have babies once a year. Female dingoes give birth in dens. The pups drink their mother's milk. Pups are raised by the pack. All of the dingoes in a pack will help keep the dominant pair's pups safe. Dingo moms can be vicious. The dominant female in a pack will often kill the pups of other females in the pack. Dingoes can live up to 6 years in the wild. Dingoes that are cared for by humans can live for 15 years. Dingo prey. Dingoes eat a wide range of prey. They hunt small animals such as geese, rabbits, and lizards. They also go after larger prey such as kangaroos and wallabies. Dingoes hunt mostly at night. They hunt smaller animals alone. When hunting larger prey, dingoes hunt in packs. Dingoes are often blamed for attacks on farm animals. However, the attackers are more often feral dogs or domestic dogs that live in the wild. Dingoes in Asia live much closer to humans than Australian dingoes. Asian dingoes eat trash left by humans and food that humans give them. An apex predator. Dingoes are apex predators in Australia. That means they do not have any natural predators. They are the largest warm-blooded predator in Australia. Dingoes do have some enemies, though. Crocodiles sometimes kill them. Dingoes are also killed by dingoes or feral dogs. When they need to, dingoes defend themselves by fighting and biting. Humans are responsible for many dingo deaths. Many people view dingoes as pests because they have a reputation for killing farm animals. There have been several long fences put up in Australia to try to keep dingoes away from people and farm animals. Helpful dingoes. Dingoes play an important role in the ecosystem. They keep unwanted animal populations under control. For example, dingoes love to eat rabbits. Rabbits are an invasive species in Australia. They are not native to Australia and can damage the ecosystem. Dingoes help control the rabbit population. Dingoes also hunt feral animals, such as cats, dogs, and goats. These feral animals are also invasive species. When they live in the wild, they compete with native Australian species for food. This leaves native Australian animals with less food. Thanks to invasive species, some Australian animals are at risk of dying out. Dingoes at risk. The future of dingoes is uncertain. The population of pure dingoes is going down. This is mostly because dingoes mate with domestic and feral dogs. The more dingoes mate with other species, the fewer dingoes there will be. Some people also keep dingoes as pets and try to make them domesticated. Wild dingoes are an important part of Australia's ecosystem. Though they can be dangerous, it is important that they be protected. Luckily, there are many groups working to save the dingo.
Conchas by Bethany Baxter. Shell armor. Conchas are marine snails. They live in warm ocean waters all over the world. Conchas have large spiral shells. These hard shells act like armor to keep their soft bodies safe from predators. Conchas are part of a large group of marine animals called mollusks. Other mollusks include clams, oysters, octopi, and squid. Snails and slugs form a smaller group of mollusks called gastropods. True conchas are snails in their own family of gastropods. One of the best-known conchas is the queen conch. Other conchas include the milk conch, the rooster-tail conch, the spider conch, and the fighting conch. Warm, shallow waters. Conchas live in tropical water habitats. Most conchas can be found in the warm waters of the Indian Ocean and the western and central Pacific Ocean. This area is called the Indo-Pacific. Other conchas live in parts of the Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Sea, and Mediterranean Sea. Conchas are bottom dwellers. They make their homes in sand, gravel, beds of seagrass, and coral reefs on the ocean floor. Queen conchas live in shallow waters throughout the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. They can be found in waters between 1 foot and 70 feet deep, 0.3 meters to 21.3 meters. Hard outside, soft inside. Conches are invertebrates. This means they do not have backbones inside their bodies. Instead, they have hard outer shells. The shells are spiral-shaped. Conches are born with their shells. A conch grows its shell using an organ called a mantle. The mantle makes a liquid that hardens into the shell. The mantle lets out liquid slowly over time. This way, the conch's shell grows larger and thicker as the conch grows. Conches come in many sizes, shapes, and colors. Queen conch can grow to be about 1 foot, 0.3 meters long, and weigh 5 pounds, 2.3 kilograms. The inside of its shell can be pink, yellow, or orange. Hopping around. All gastropods have a single foot they use to get around. A conch uses its foot to slowly move around on the ocean floor. The foot is a muscular organ that spreads out under the conch's body. The queen conch is known for hopping with its foot. Scientists think queen conches hop so that they will not leave a trail in the sand for predators to follow. Queen conches can travel about 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers, over 2 months. Queen conches are most active at night. This is when they look for food. During the day, they often find hiding places in coral reefs or rocky ledges. They also hide by burying themselves under sand. Eggs and larvae. Female conches reproduce, or make more conches, with the help of male conches. After mating, female queen conches lay a long, sticky string of eggs called an egg mass. The egg mass holds up to 400,000 eggs and can be more than 100 feet, 30.5 meters long. After about 5 days, tiny larvae hatch from the eggs. The larvae float through the ocean waters for their first few weeks. They eat tiny plants called plankton. Then they settle on the ocean floor, where they change into small conches. However, it can take 3 to 4 years for a queen conch to reach full size. They can live for 20 to 40 years in the wild. Plant eaters. Conches eat mostly plants. Their diet includes algae, seagrasses, and bacteria that grow on seagrasses. Sometimes conches swallow pieces of sand and gravel that are covered in algae. Conches will also eat tiny pieces of dead plants and animals that sink to the ocean floor. Conches move around the ocean floor at night looking for food. They can feel food using the tentacles on their heads. Conches suck up their food with a tube-like mouth called a proboscis. Then they grind the food up using their radulas. The radula is an organ covered in thousands of tiny sharp teeth called denticles. Conch predators. Young conches are much smaller than adult conches. They also have thinner shells. This makes it easier for ocean predators to eat them. Young conches often bury themselves in the sand to hide from predators. Adult conches are kept safe from many predators by their thick shells. However, there are ocean predators that are able to eat animals with thick shells. These include loggerhead sea turtles, nurse sharks, and stingrays. When a predator comes close, conches pull back into their shells. They can also use the claws at the end of their feet to try to pry themselves loose from a predator's mouth. People and conches. Conches are fished by people around the world. In countries around the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, people fish for the large queen conch. The queen conch is caught for its meat and its beautiful shell. People eat queen conch meat all around the Caribbean. Some conch dishes include chowder and fritters. The meat can also be used as fishing bait. Conch shells are made into jewelry and other decorations. Native peoples have also used conch shells to make instruments, cooking pots, knives, hooks, and buttons. Today, people also keep different kinds of conches in aquariums as pets, keeping conches safe. For many years, there were no laws to keep people from catching too many queen conches. Overfishing has made their numbers much smaller than they should be. Ocean pollution has also hurt queen conches' habitats. Today, governments and wildlife groups are working to keep the queen conch safe from dying out. It is important to take care of Earth and its animals. That way, conches will be around for many years to come.
How to plan, revise, and edit your text. Sarah Howell. Making plans and making changes. Sitting down to write may seem simple. However, good writing takes work. Before you begin, it is important to plan what you will say and how you will say it. After you have written a piece, you will need to check it for spelling and grammar mistakes. This is called editing. You should also reread your work and look for anything you would like to revise or change and improve. Planning, editing, and revising your work takes time. However, these are important skills that will greatly improve your writing. Even famous authors take time to plan, revise, and edit their work. Every book you read has been carefully planned, edited, and revised. Planning, editing, and revising will make your own writing better, too. Start with a plan. First things to figure out is what kind of text you will be writing. Some pieces give information about a topic. These are called explanatory texts. An opinion piece tells readers how a writer feels about a topic and then uses facts to show why. A narrative piece tells a true or made-up story. The structure or frame of an explanatory text or opinion piece tends to be different from the structure of a narrative. Even the kind of words you use might be different. Explanatory texts often use formal language. Narratives most often use informal language. Get prepared. You may be asked to write about topics that are unfamiliar or new to you. To find out more about a topic, you will need to do some research or careful study. Books, newspaper articles, and other printed sources are great places to start your research. You can also find a lot of info on the internet. Taking notes during your research can be very helpful. As you read, write down key words and ideas. When it is time to write, look back over your notes and put the main ideas into your own words. Building a structure. An organized structure will help you convey ideas and information clearly. The first part of your piece is the introduction. It states the topic and tells readers what the text will be about. The next part is called the body. It is the main part of the text. It usually has several paragraphs or sections. The last part is the conclusion. This is where you can sum up ideas and give readers a sense of ending. Making an outline will help you plan your piece's structure. Write down the parts of the piece, then go over your notes and fill in information where it fits best. Writing tip. When writing for adults, keep your language formal. If you are writing for other kids, you can be informal. Grammar guide. Editing is a big part of the writing process. When you edit, you fix mistakes. Be on the lookout for grammar mistakes. Grammar is the system of rules for how words combine to form sentences. Always check that you are using parts of speech correctly in a sentence. A noun is a person, place, or thing. Always use plural verbs or action words with plural nouns. Use adjectives such as soft to describe nouns and adverbs such as softly to describe verbs. Make sure to use only one tense throughout your piece. Don't slip back and forth between the present and the past. Punctuation and spelling checks. Another part of editing is checking punctuation and spelling. Be sure that the first word of each sentence is a capital letter. The names of people and places should be capitalized too. All sentences should end with a period, exclamation point, or question mark. You should also check that you have used commas, apostrophes, and other punctuation marks correctly. If you are unsure, ask a parent or friend for help. As you read your piece, keep an eye out for words that are misspelled, too. If you do not know how to spell a word, look it up in a dictionary. Go with the flow. You'll also want to revise your piece. Read over what you have written and look for things that could be improved. As you reread, see if the piece flows well or clearly moves from one idea to the next. Ask yourself if there are any parts that do not make sense. If you are writing an opinion piece, have you clearly shown why you feel a certain way? Be sure your supporting facts back up your opinion. If you are writing an explanatory piece, ask yourself if you have conveyed your ideas and information clearly. Giving feedback. Sometimes you will be asked to read and comment on a classmate's work. The suggestions that you give someone on how to edit and revise a piece are called feedback. Good feedback will help your classmate improve his writing. In your feedback, try to avoid saying that something is just good or bad. That does not give the writer much of an idea of how to improve. Instead, explain why you liked or disliked something. The more specific or exact you are with your feedback, the easier it will be for the writer to understand and use it. Take your time. A version of a piece of writing is called a draft. Each new draft includes edits and revisions that make the piece better. Start writing early enough so that you can set your piece aside for a few days. Then take it out and read it again as if you had never seen it before. If it were someone else's writing, what feedback would you give? If other people have read your piece and given you feedback, you can use their ideas to revise as well. Do not be afraid to move large sections around or rewrite paragraphs that do not work. Using technology. Planning, editing, and revising are skills you can use for the rest of your life. Today's technology can make using these skills much easier. When you use a computer, you can add words, take out entire paragraphs, and cut and paste sections of your piece with just a few clicks. You can even use your computer and the internet to share your finished piece with others. Just imagine the feedback you might get from around the world.
Edouard Manet by Melody S. Me. Meet Edouard Manet. Edouard Manet was a French artist. He began painting in a style called realism. He later became known as the leader of the Impressionists. He was called the leader of this style because he inspired young artists to paint everyday life in a new way. Realist artists painted scenes exactly like they saw them, but they worked on their paintings in a studio. Impressionist artists painted everyday scenes, but they painted them outdoors. They copied the bold colors found in nature in their paintings. They wanted to show how sunlight changed colors. Young Manet. Edouard Manet was born in Paris, France, on January 23, 1832. His father, Auguste, was a rich judge. His mother, Eugénie, was interested in art and music. Manet went to school, but the only class he liked was drawing. His uncle, Charles Fournier, encouraged Manet's interest in art. He often took Manet to the Louvre, the largest art museum in Paris. After Manet finished high school in 1848, his father wanted him to go to law school. Manet did not want to study law, so he got a job on a ship instead. Manet's art. In 1849, Manet took a test to enter the Navy, but he failed it. From 1850 to 1856, he studied art with the French painter Thomas Couture. His studies included going to the Louvre and copying paintings done by the old masters. During this time, Manet traveled to Italy and Germany. He visited their museums to study. Manet became interested in the paintings done by the Spanish artists Diego Velázquez and Francisco José de Goya y Lucientes. These two painters inspired Manet to use simple colors and thicker dabs of paint in his own paintings. Manet and realism. In 1856, Manet opened a studio where he could paint scenes from drawings that he had made. By this time, he had stopped copying scenes from the old master's paintings. Instead, he began to paint people and scenes that he saw around Paris. Manet's new style of painting was called realism. Manet also changed the way he painted. He began to use brighter colors and large areas of black paint. He was more interested in how colors looked in a painting than he was in the scenes he painted. Music in the Tuileries Gardens. Manet spent many afternoons in the Tuileries Gardens. He made drawings of the people and the scenes that he saw there. He used the drawings as ideas for his paintings. In 1862, Manet used one of these ideas to paint music in the Tuileries Gardens. It was Manet's first important painting of Parisian life. He used friends and family as models for people in the painting.
In 1863, Monet married Suzanne Leenhoff, who had an 11-year-old son named Leon. Monet used Leon as a model in many of his paintings. The Paris Salon. Monet believed he would not be successful until the Paris Salon showed his work. The Salon was Paris's most important art show. Many people visited the show to see and buy new paintings. The Salon did not show the Impressionists' paintings or most of Monet's paintings. It did not like the style of these new painters. The Salon did show some of Monet's paintings, however, but not many. In 1863, a show was held for the artists whose paintings were rejected by the Salon. This meant that artists like Monet and the Impressionists could show their work. Monet felt that this was not as good as being part of the official show at the Paris Salon. Monet paints current events. Monet was interested in what was going on all around the world. In 1864, he painted Kearsarge and the Alabama. The Kearsarge and the Alabama were American ships that fought each other during America's Civil War. The battle took place off the coast of France, which caused the French people to take an interest in the war. In 1870, France began a war with Germany, which lasted for 6 months. As soon as war broke out, Monet sent his family out of Paris before fighting reached the city. Monet served with the French army during this war. Monet and the Impressionists. By the 1870s, Monet had become good friends with many Impressionist artists. The Impressionists liked Monet's work and thought of him as their leader. They encouraged Monet to use lighter colors and to paint outdoors instead of in a studio. In 1874, Monet took his paints outside and painted the landscapes and street scenes in front of him. In 1882, Monet produced his last important painting. It is called Bar at the Folies Bergère. It was one of the few paintings by Monet that was shown by the Paris Salon. Honored and respected. Near the end of his life, Monet received an award from the Paris Salon for one of his paintings. He was also named to the Legion of Honor, which is France's highest award. Monet had finally become respected for his art. In 1883, Monet's foot was amputated after it had become infected. Monet never got well after this. He died on April 30, 1883, at the age of 51. Monet produced 420 paintings, many of which hang in museums today. He is important because he helped change what artists paint and how they paint it.
World Holidays by Therese Harasimu. Holidays around the world. Do you like to give cards on Valentine's Day or make dinner on Thanksgiving? On holidays, we set aside our everyday jobs and tasks. We do special things to remember important people, events, or ideas. People all over the world have holidays. Some holidays are celebrated in several countries. Some are celebrated in just one country. Let's learn about some holidays around the world and the ways people celebrate them. Independence Days. Each year on July 4th, people in the United States celebrate Independence Day. Independence means freedom. Americans remember how the United States formed a new nation after becoming free from British rule. People enjoy parades, cookouts, games, and music. In some places, colorful fireworks are part of the celebration. Other countries have Independence Days when they celebrate becoming free and independent nations. Mexico celebrates independence from Spain on September 16th, and India celebrates its independence from Britain on August 15th. Victoria Day. Queen Victoria was the ruler of the British Empire from 1837 to 1901. Canada was ruled by Britain from 1763 until it gained full independence in 1931. Canada still honors Britain and Queen Victoria's birthday with a holiday. Victoria Day is observed on the Monday before May 25th each year. Like other holidays, Victoria Day is celebrated with parades and music. Often, the British flag is flown next to Canada's flag. This reminds Canadians of the bond between Canada and Britain. Bastille Day. Bastille Day is a French holiday celebrated on July 14th. It's named for a prison that was once in Paris, France. In the late 1700s, many French people were unhappy with their king. They wanted a new government and more control over making laws. On July 14, 1789, a large group of people attacked the Bastille to show their power. Today, Bastille Day is a time to remember how the French people shaped their government. There are parades around the place where the Bastille once stood, and even dancing in the streets. Boxing Day. On December 26th, people in Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada celebrate Boxing Day. It's called Boxing Day because people fill boxes with gifts. No one knows when or how this holiday started. It may come from the Middle Ages, when wealthy people gave their workers gifts on December 26th. Later, it became a day to give money and gifts to the poor and to people who have service jobs, such as mail carriers. Today, Boxing Day is a day to spend time with family and friends. Many people use this day to shop and watch sports as well. Constitution Memorial Day. Many countries have holidays to honor their laws and national constitutions. In Japan, Constitution Memorial Day takes place on May 3rd each year. This is during Golden Week, when people take time off from work to celebrate the government, nature, and children. On Constitution Memorial Day, the National Government Building is open to everyone. People think about what democracy means to Japan. They study Japanese laws and their effects. They talk about what laws should change and what laws should remain. Cinco de Mayo. Mexicans and Mexican Americans celebrate the holiday Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is Spanish for 5th of May. In the 1860s, France sent an army to take control of Mexico. On May 5, 1862, the Mexican army fought an important battle against the French at Puebla, Mexico. The Mexicans won even though the French army was bigger. Soon after, the Mexicans forced the French to leave their country. Today, Cinco de Mayo marks the Puebla battle with parades, food, dancing, and music. Chinese New Year. Many cultures celebrate the New Year. One famous celebration is Chinese New Year, which is also called Lunar New Year. Some cultures start the beginning of the year on January 1st. However, the Chinese calendar's year begins between January 21st and February 20th. To prepare for Chinese New Year, people clean their homes and buy new clothes. Each family shares usually fish, the night before. At midnight, fireworks often light up the skies. For several days after the New Year, people visit their families and friends, give gifts of money, and march in parades. An African holiday. Africa is made up of many cultures. Several African countries came together in 1958 to discuss matters that were important to all of them. One concern was foreign countries ruling Africa. The Africans at the meeting wanted all of Africa to be ruled by Africans. They decided to name April 15th African Freedom Day to honor this idea. On May 25, 1963, over 30 African countries met again. By this time, 2/3 of the continent was independent. They changed the date and the name of the special holiday. African Liberation Day is now celebrated each year on May 25th.
Native American Homes by Lincoln James. Home Sweet Home. Before Europeans arrived, Native Americans with different cultures and traditions lived all over North America. They built many different styles of homes, depending on what they could find in their surroundings. Some used wood and tree bark. Others used mud and clay. Others dug their homes out of earth or stone. Some even used ice. Native Americans' homes can tell us a lot about their cultures and ways of life. What do you think you'll learn about Native Americans by studying their homes? Teepees. Many people picture a teepee when they think about Native American homes. Teepees are cone-shaped homes built mainly by tribes of the Great Plains. Tall poles made from saplings were used to form the cone shape. Animal skins or tree bark were then wrapped around the frame made by the poles to form the teepee. Teepees were warm in the winter, cool in the summer, and dry when it rained. They could be easily taken down and put up again when a tribe moved to a new place. Wigwams. Many Native Americans made dome-shaped homes. Some groups called these homes wigwams, but others called them wickiups. Wigwams were made of saplings that were bent to form arches. More saplings were wrapped around the arches to make a strong frame. Then the frame was covered with animal skins, tree bark, or long grass. Most wigwams were shaped like a circle, some were shaped like a rectangle, and some had a cone shape. Most wigwams had a dome-shaped roof. Just like teepees, wigwams had an opening at the top to let out the smoke from fires. Longhouses. The Iroquois Indians and some Algonquin Indians built longhouses for extended families. Some of these houses were over 200 feet, 61 meters long, and could hold over 100 people. As a family grew, they could lengthen the longhouse. The Iroquois first built a frame of wooden poles. The poles were bent to make arches for the roof. Beds and shelves were built into the frame. The finished frame was covered with bark, long grasses, and sometimes animal skins. Long houses had one door on each end and no windows. Roof openings allowed smoke from fires to escape. Chickees. Some Native Americans, such as the Seminole of Florida, built wooden homes called chickees. Chickees had thatched roofs and no walls. This kept people cool in hot weather. Animal skins were wrapped around a chickee to make walls when it rained. The Seminole lived where the ground was wet most of the year. Chickees were built on raised platforms to keep people dry and safe from animals, such as snakes. Short wooden ladders were used to climb in and out of chickees. Igloos. The Inuit lived where it was cold for most of the year. They used snow and ice to build homes called igloos. An igloo is made of layers of ice cut into blocks. Igloos usually have dome-shaped roofs. They could hold 1 or 2 families. Living in a house made of snow and ice might sound like a cold way to live. However, a well-made igloo keeps out the cold and wind. Even when it's minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 45.5 degrees Celsius outside, it could be as warm as 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 15.5 degrees Celsius, inside an igloo. Earth lodges. Different Native American groups across North America made their homes by digging living spaces out of the earth. This type of home is called an earth lodge. Some Native Americans lived in earth mounds covered by a dome of wood and long grasses. The Navajo made a frame out of poles and covered it with mud, which dried and became hard. Some earth homes, called pit houses, were dug into the ground. They could be partly surrounded by earth and mud, or totally covered with earth. Pueblos. Native Americans of the Southwest United States once lived in homes made of bricks called adobe. Adobe is made by mixing sand, clay, water, and straw. The mixture is packed into molds and dried in the sun. Adobe is very strong and lasts a long time. Adobe and stone blocks were used to build homes called pueblos, many of which are still standing. Pueblos were often built in long, connected rows. Some had more than 100 rooms. A log frame was placed across the top of a pueblo to help support an adobe roof. Cliff dwellings. Some Native Americans used stone blocks and wood to build their homes and villages high on a tall cliff. Today these homes are often called cliff dwellings. Cliff Palace is the largest cliff dwelling in North America. It's located in Mesa Verde National Park in Colorado. Cliff Palace has about 150 rooms, but scientists think that only about 30 of the rooms were used for living. The rest were used for storage and special ceremonies. Today, you can take a guided tour of Cliff Palace. Native American homes. This chart shows the types of things used to build different Native American homes. Were any of them used to make your home?
Ancient Greek Daily Life by Henry Bensinger. Family. Ancient Greece was a civilization that existed around 2,700 years ago.
Their daily lives were much different from our own. Family was important in ancient Greece, just as it is now, though. Men worked and took part in public meetings. Women were expected to stay at home and care for the children and the household. They would teach their daughters the skills they would need to become wives and run a home, too. Many Greek families owned slaves who helped with the chores and daily work. Community. Family was important, but the community was important too. As part of each day, the men of the house would go out to work. They worked as farmers, pottery makers, cobblers, fishermen, and officials. Men were also expected to attend community meetings at the agora. Here they might vote on issues of the day, crimes, or laws. At the end of the day, men might gymnasium to do sports and share the news of the day. In the evening, men might gather at a neighbor's home to share a meal and listen to music as well. The house. Homes in ancient Greece were built to keep people cool in the hot summers and warm in the winters. Most Greek homes had a walled garden or courtyard in the center. The house was built of sun-dried bricks made from mud. Roofs were made of clay tiles. Women generally stayed in the deepest rooms of the house, away from their husbands and any male visitors. Men would entertain male guests in a special room called the andron. Tutors would use the room during the day to teach lessons to male children. Marriage. All people in ancient Greece were expected to get married. In Athens, girls were married at around age 13. They often married men who were twice their age. In Sparta, men and women married much later in life. They were about the same age as their partners. It was the father's job to choose whom his children married. It was an important decision. Once a couple was married, they were expected to have children. Sons were preferred as they could help in the family work and inherit property. Women's role. In wealthy families, women spent much of their time spinning and weaving cloth. They also managed any slaves and kept the household running smoothly. These women rarely went out of the house. If they did go to the market, they never went alone. They went with one of their slaves. In poor families, women might work alongside their husbands. They did their own shopping and got water from the town center. Ancient Greek women were in charge of caring for their children. They taught them the right ways to behave. They taught them the things they would need to run a household, too. Slavery in ancient Greece. It was common for Greek families to own slaves. In fact, there were more slaves than there were free citizens in some city-states. Female slaves worked most often in homes, helping with cooking, cleaning, weaving, and care for children. Male slaves might work in the mines. They might also work at farming or building temples, among other jobs. Slaves worked long hours and had no rights in ancient Greece. It is no wonder that every so often slaves would revolt. The style of the times. Ancient Greek clothing was generally made from linen or wool fabric. The fabrics were rectangular and fixed with clasps or pins with a belt or sash at the waist. The innermost tunic was a chiton. Men wore chitons that hung to the knees. Women's chitons went to their ankles. A woman might wear a heavier undertunic called a peplos. It was held by two clasps at the shoulders. Greek men sometimes wore a kind of cloak that was made from a loop of fabric. In winter, a longer, heavier cloak was worn. It was called a himation. Mealtimes in ancient Greece. Most ancient Greeks worked as farmers. They grew grain such as barley and wheat. They also grew olives and grapes. Women ground the grains into flour for bread or made porridge. The olives were pressed for their oil. Grapes were used to make wine. Many Greeks also raised goats or other animals. Milk from these animals could be used to make cheese. Lentils, peas, beans, apples, and other foods were also part of their diet. Because many Greek city-states were on the coast, fish and shellfish were also staples of their diet. Childhood. Ancient Greek children were known to play with some of the same toys as children today do. Remains of ancient dolls, yo-yos, hoops, and balls have been found in Greece. It was not all fun and games for Greek children, though. Greek boys began to attend school around the age of 7. They learned history, reading, writing, and math. They also learned music and poetry. They spent time each day practicing athletics and learning to be soldiers. Girls stayed at home and learned weaving, cooking, and other skills needed to run a household. Sports and entertainment. Fitness was an important part of daily Greek life. Boys and men spent time each day doing sports, such as running, wrestling, and throwing the javelin or discus. The Greeks liked other forms of entertainment as well. Citizens enjoyed going to the theater. At banquets, musicians and dancers were hired to entertain guests. Studying the daily lives of the ancient Greeks can tell us a lot about this important civilization.
Henry Ford, Pioneer of Modern Industry, by Greg Rosa. Industry in America. Industry is the ordered creation of goods and services, often for large groups of people. The Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 1700s, was a period of great improvements in science, farming, travel, communication, and manufacturing. The Industrial Revolution ended in the mid-1800s, but scientists and inventors continued to improve on the discoveries of those who had come before them. American industrial pioneer Henry Ford used inventions others had created, such as the internal combustion engine and the assembly line, to change the world. Ford's improvements to the manufacturing industry helped make the United States a leading world power in the 20th century. Henry Ford's early years. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863, area of Michigan that's today the city of Dearborn. He was the oldest of 6 children. The Fords owned a successful farm, and Henry spent much of his childhood going to a one-room schoolhouse, doing chores, and learning about farm machinery. Henry didn't like farm work very much, but he took an interest in machines. When he was about 13, his father gave him a watch. He taught himself to take it apart and put it back together. Soon he became so good at it that friends and neighbors brought him broken watches to fix. In 1879, Henry traveled to the nearby city of Detroit, Michigan, where he became an apprentice machinist. For the first, Henry had the chance to work with steam engines and internal combustion engines on a regular basis. He learned quickly and soon got a job fixing steam engines for the Westinghouse Electric Corporation, which was a large and powerful manufacturer of electrical machinery. 3 years after leaving the family farm, Henry returned to help his father fix farm machines and do other work. He also continued to work part-time as a machinist in Detroit. In 1888, Ford married a local woman named Clara Bryant and moved off the family farm. He supported Clara and himself by opening a sawmill. Although he was very busy, Ford continued to work with engines. In 1891, he got a job as an engineer with the Edison Illuminating Company in Detroit. He became chief engineer in 1893. That same year, Clara gave birth to a boy named Edsel Bryant Ford. Ford's new position gave him more time and money to work with internal combustion engines in his workshop. He was hard at work on an idea that would change the world. Here comes the quadricycle. In his workshop, Ford constructed an automobile that used an internal combustion engine. Gasoline gave power to the engine. The engine moved a chain, which in turn moved a set of wheels. The car had 2 speeds, but it couldn't go backwards. The 3-gallon, 11.3-liter gas tank was under the seat. Ford drove the car for the first time on June 4, 1896. It reached a top speed of 20 miles, 32 kilometers per hour. Ford called his invention the quadricycle, which means 4 wheels, because it rode on 4 bicycle tires. Ford's boss, inventor and businessman Thomas Edison, encouraged him to keep working on his automobile. After Ford had successfully tested his invention, he began planning the mass production of quadricycles. He finished building a new model of the quadricycle in 1898 and helped found the Detroit Automobile Company in 1899. This company didn't last and closed its doors in January 1901. Ford continued to make more powerful cars. After another attempt at opening a car factory didn't work out for him, Ford finally met with success when he opened the Ford Motor Company in 1903. Thanks to well-made cars and successful marketing, the Ford automobile was soon a popular product around the country. The assembly line. Soon, Ford had a lot of competition in the car business. He worked hard to improve his product as well as the manufacturing process. Each car was made by a team of men. It took about 12 hours to put one car together. Ford began using the assembly line to manufacture cars in 1913. On an assembly line, the cars are moved past workers. Each worker carries out the same job on each car. Using this method, it took only about an hour and a half to make a single car. When other manufacturers saw how effective Ford's assembly lines were, they began to use them in their factories too. The great success of the Model T. Although he made many contributions to industry and manufacturing, Ford is perhaps best remembered for the Model T. Before 1908, the Ford Motor Company had produced several models of automobiles, but Ford wanted to improve his product. He wanted to build a car that was affordable and easy to drive. He wanted it to be big enough for a family, but small enough for a single person to care for. The result was the Model T. The Ford Motor Company began selling the Model T in 1908. Today, it's widely recognized as America's first popular, affordable car. By 1918, more than half the cars on the U.S. roads were Model Ts. The last one rolled off the assembly line in 1927. A king of industry. The Ford Motor Company was a great success during Ford's life. It continued to grow even after Ford passed away on April 7, 1947, at the age of 83. By this time, Ford was worth a little over $1 billion. This made him one of the richest people in the world. Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile or the assembly line. However, he's remembered as the man who used the assembly line to produce cars that were affordable for all Americans. His mastery of the assembly line and the automobile helped change industrial practices around the world forever.
Wind Energy, Blown Away by Amy S. Hansen. Wind energy. Stand outside and feel the wind blow on your face. That moving air has energy. The wind's energy moves sailboats across lakes and turns wind turbines to make electricity. When we catch the wind's energy, we have wind power. Most of the electricity used in the United States comes from fossil fuels. However, we are using the wind more and more. Wind power is a renewable energy source. This means that no matter how much we use, we cannot use it up. It is also a non-polluting energy source. When we capture wind energy, we are not putting smoke or other pollution in the air. What makes the wind? Wind can knock over huge trees or cause a single piece of grass to flutter. Whether it is powerful or gentle, wind is here because of the sun. As the sun's rays reach Earth, they warm up the air. However, the sun does not warm air evenly. For example, air over land heats up more quickly than air over water does during the day. Pockets of air that are warmer than others cause wind. When air gets warm, it rises. Then, cooler air rushes in to take its place. This movement of air is wind. As long as the sun shines, there will be wind that we can use to power turbines, windmills, and sailboats. Catching the wind. Long ago, the Nile River was like a highway for ancient Egyptians. After paddling their boats downstream, Egyptians put up sails. The sails caught the wind and pushed the boats upstream. Sails are one of the earliest ways people used the wind. Windmills are another early invention. Windmill blades catch the wind and turn. The turning blades power water pumps or turn millstones. Millstones grind wheat to make flour. Windmills were already in use in China and Persia over 1,000 years ago. Later, the Netherlands became famous for windmills that pumped seawater off land. Early American settlers used windmills too. Electricity from wind turbines. Wind turbines are windmills that make electricity. Electricity powers lights, TVs, clothes, dryers, and many other things. We generate electricity by moving magnets around coils of wires. A wind turbine's job is to use the energy from the wind to move the magnets. Wind turbines sit on top of tall towers so that they can reach the wind. A wind turbine's blades are joined to a short stick called a drive shaft. When the wind turns the blades, they turn the drive shaft. The turning drive shaft moves gears. These gears turn the generator, which spins magnets around wires. This makes electricity. Farms that capture wind. A wind farm sounds like a place to grow wind. In fact, wind farms are places that change wind into electricity. Wind farms sometimes use hundreds of wind turbines. Wind farm turbines are big. The largest turbines have blades that are longer than a football field. A mid-sized turbine has blades that are 135 feet, 40 meters long. Its tower is 260 feet, 79 meters tall. The Snyder Wind Project in western Texas has even taller turbines. Together with their towers, these turbines are taller than the Statue of Liberty. This wind farm's 421 turbines provide electricity for 220,000 houses. Where are the wind farms? There are big wind farms in Texas, California, Iowa, Tennessee, and many other states. Delaware is even building a wind farm in the ocean, 6 miles, 10 kilometers off the coast. What do these places have in common? They are all windy. Engineers study the wind and give a wind code to each area. In the United States, the least windy places earn a 1 rating. The windiest places get a 7. Wind farms will work only in areas that have at least a 3 rating. These places tend to be in the middle of prairies or on mountains. They can also be off the coasts in the ocean. Lighter winds. Many places do not have strong winds. However, smaller turbines can work fine there. Small turbines need less wind to work than large turbines. Some small wind turbines have blades that are only 9 feet, 3 meters across. Farmers use these turbines to pump water for animals. Slightly bigger turbines make electricity for individual houses or farms. Other than their size, small turbines usually look just like large turbines. However, engineers are trying new designs too. One design even looks like a coiled spring. These new designs may be able to make electricity from even lighter wind. Problems with the wind. When the wind blows, turbines make clean electricity. However, if the wind does not blow, there is no electricity. Electricity generated by wind power cannot be stored easily. It must be moved to where it will be used. It is hard to move electricity over long distances. Since people do not often live in the windiest areas, engineers must find ways to connect turbines and cities. The wind must also blow steadily for wind power to be successful. If the wind is really strong one day and weak the next, turbines will not work well. Finally, some people think turbines are ugly and ruin beautiful scenery. Wind power for tomorrow. Wind power was once fairly expensive, but now the cost of it has been going down. Generating electricity using wind power now costs just a little more than making electricity from coal. However, wind power creates none of the pollution that using coal does. Also, while fossil fuels such as coal are running out, wind power is renewable. Today, many more people are buying wind turbines. Some people are buying small turbines to put on a home or farm. Big companies are buying large turbines and setting up wind farms. As wind turbines get better, we may find that some of our energy problems are blown away.
The Problem with Early Cameras by Ryan Nagelhout. Picture perfect? Today's smart cameras can give you amazing pictures with the touch of a button. Even cell phones and tablet computers have cameras that take great pictures you can share with all your friends. Early camera technology wasn't always so easy to use. People made plenty of mistakes while trying to invent a good camera. Images were often turned the wrong way, and many different chemicals were needed to make the pictures. It took a long time for people to figure out how to make a good camera. Camera obscura. The first camera was made with a tiny hole, called the camera obscura, Latin for dark chamber. The first camera was just that, a dark room with covered windows. A hole let in light from the outside, which would project an image onto a wall. Camera obscuras were first used to help artists. The image that came through the pinhole could be traced and helped painters create art that looked closer to real life. During the 16th century, the device was made much smaller and became a movable box. First photograph. By 1826, French inventor Joseph Nicephore Niepce made the first permanent photo with bitumen, which hardened when exposed to light. He then removed the unexposed areas to get a negative or inverse of an image, a process he called heliography. A few years later, French artist Jacques Daguerre discovered that Niepce was trying to use light to create plates that could be inked to make prints. The two decided to work together to create a new kind of photography, or light writing. The daguerreotype. Niepce died in 1833, before Daguerre perfected their work and invented the daguerreotype. Created in 1837, daguerreotypes made photographs by putting iodine on silver-plated copper sheets to make them sensitive to light. Using a warm vapor of the element mercury, the image developed on the sheets to make a photo. Daguerre first tried to make money off his method, but later published it so others could make daguerreotypes. This helped others make new kinds of light-sensitive photographs with different chemicals. Plate cameras. In 1851, English inventor Frederick Scott Archer improved on Daguerre's design by using a plate of glass covered in light-sensitive chemicals to capture an image. The 7-step process wasn't much easier than the daguerreotype, but it was much cheaper. It soon became the most popular way to make photographs. The plates were only sensitive to light when wet, which meant they had to be used as soon as possible. A darkroom could be set up in a tent, railway car, or even a wagon to help develop Archer's plate glass photos. Eastman and Kodak. The invention of dry plates helped cameras become cheaper and more portable. Then in 1888, American inventor George Eastman created a new kind of camera called the Kodak. It was the first camera made to use a flexible film camera roll. The original Kodak was a wooden box with film made from something called cellulose inside. It could be used with a simple press of a button. Each box had enough film for 100 photos, rolls, and drolls. Interchangeable rolls of film were added as cameras became smaller. Different types of film at different sizes could create different-sized photos. In 1900, Kodak first sold the Brownie camera. It cost $1 for the camera and 15 cents for each roll of film. Early film was made with a chemical called nitrate, which was highly flammable. As film rolls improved in quality and size, a new kind of photography was created. Inventor Thomas Edison used the technology to string images together to create motion pictures, or movies. Color and instant cameras. Photos were first made in color during the early 20th century as film improved. Cameras were also made with their own darkroom. In 1947, American inventor Edwin Land created the instant camera with the Polaroid process. This combined the exposure and development process into one, and cameras spit out a Polaroid. The photo started as a blank image that became a photo in about a minute. This meant you didn't have to take your film to a photo center to get it developed. Digital photography. Today, we've taken the film right out of the camera altogether. Digital cameras still have a lens to capture images, but there's no film or plate to put them on. Instead, computer memory cards store the images in bits and bytes. Digital cameras were invented in the 1980s, but weren't popular until the 21st century. Most cell phones also have tiny cameras inside that let us edit images after they're captured. What do you think the camera of tomorrow will look like?
The Problem with Early Navigation Tools by Ryan Nagelhout. Finding the way. People are usually thought to have 5 senses: smell, sight, taste, hearing, and touch. But we actually have many more senses, such as heat and pain. One of the more interesting senses we may have is a sense of direction. For thousands of years, humans have used things to better find their way around. They've used many wild machines to navigate our world. They had to make sure these things were accurate, otherwise they could get lost. Sun and stars.
The first tools used by humans to navigate can still be used today. You just have to look up. For thousands of years, people have used the position of the sun throughout the day to figure out where they're going. The sun rises in the eastern sky in the morning. At midday it sits overhead, and in the afternoon it begins to set in the western sky. However, the position of the sun does differ based on where you are on Earth. The lead line. Traveling by ship was tough in ancient times. One of the earliest navigation tools simply kept boats from running aground. Called a lead line, it was a long length of rope with a weight at the end that sailors dropped into the water. The lead line measured ocean depth, helping sailors keep track of how much water was under a boat. Water depth was measured by fathoms, or lengths of 6 feet, 1.8 meters. The lead line was mentioned by the Greek historian Herodotus in the 5th century BC. Vikings on the water. The Vikings were a group of people who lived in Scandinavia starting around AD 700. They attacked other people's land by traveling on ships. Vikings had people specially trained to navigate on water. They also brought birds on their ships when they sailed. The birds were released over the water, and the ships followed them back to land. Researchers think Vikings used crystals to navigate on cloudy days. One, called Icelandic spar, would change color when it turned in the light. This is how they found the sun through the clouds, using the astrolabe. Many sailors used the North Star, or Polaris, to navigate. They started to make tools to find and use stars more accurately. The astrolabe was one of the earliest tools to measure the altitude of stars to correct a ship's movement. Legend says the Greek thinker Hipparchus first invented it. The astrolabe hung perpendicular to the water. Sailors then lined up the light from the star through the pinholes to measure the altitude of a star such as Polaris compared to the horizon, and later the sextant. The sextant is a more accurate type of measuring tool similar to the astrolabe. It uses mirrors to reflect light from the sun and find the sun's angle. John Bird made the first sextant in 1759. Sailors pointed the sextant's first mirror at the sun, then moved the vertical piece forward or backward until the light reflected off the two mirrors and through the eyepiece. Navigators used the sextant with their charts and tables to figure out where on Earth they were so they didn't get lost. Using magnets. Magnets could be used to navigate because they point to the north or south poles. In 1040, a Chinese writing described an iron fish that hung in water and pointed south. This was the first compass. The problem with early compasses was that magnetic north, where a compass needle actually points, is not the geographic pole or true north. Someone traveling from east to west with an early compass had to track the difference between the 2 points to stay on course. Bad maps. A cartographer is someone who makes maps. Early maps were made by people trying to chart just what the world looked like from above. They would explore new areas, drawing what they found and adding to or updating existing maps. Few early maps were perfect. Some 17th century European maps claim that the state of California is an island. Others show the wrong size for different things. One map shows Greenland and Africa as the same size, but Africa is about 14 times larger. GPS. Global Positioning System, or GPS, uses a series of satellites that orbit or move around Earth. A device like a cell phone gets in touch with these satellites to pinpoint where you are on the planet. Even GPS isn't perfect. If you're underground or in certain areas, it may be hard to reach the satellites needed to make it work. Even today, navigation systems can fail, and people can get lost.
The Problem with Early Flying Machines by Ryan Nagelhout. Taking off. Flight has always captured the imagination of people. The kite was invented in China about 3,000 years ago. Since then, people have wondered if they could fly just like the birds. Today, you can hop in a plane and take off, but it wasn't always so easy. Learning how to fly took many years, and people paid a high price when they made mistakes. Though learning to fly may be easy for some animals, for people, it was often deadly, like the birds. The first people trying to fly had little idea of how to actually get themselves into the air. Many watched birds with their flapping wings and tried to build moving wings for themselves. The problem with this thinking is that birds have much stronger wings than we do arms. When flapped, the wings' strength allows them to create lift, the upward force that works against gravity. Their wings are also aerodynamic and use physics in a way people couldn't yet understand. Bike planes. Bicycles were popular in the early 1900s, and many inventors believed they could add wings to a bicycle and it would take off. Jack Cohen, a butcher who created bike-based airplanes in his spare time, made a rocket glider. With a rocket for a tail and wings on the handlebars, Cohen used a dog collar tied around his neck to help him flap the wings as he pedaled. In one test, he lost his balance, and the rocket set him on fire. The Glider King. Gliders are heavier than air aircraft that look like big wings. They aren't powered, but rather sail on the wind to fly. German inventor Otto Lilienthal was known as the Glider King because he built and flew more than 15 gliders. During the 1870s, Lilienthal studied how wings work in air and wrote articles about flight. This research became a book, Bird Flight as the Basis of Aviation. Photos of Lilienthal flying his gliders made headlines worldwide and convinced many that human flight was possible. Pilcher's gliders. British inventor Percy Pilcher started working on flying machines in 1895 when he built his first glider, the Bat. Pilcher built 3 more gliders, the Beetle, the Gull, and the Hawk. Pilcher flew the Hawk many times, using the wind to lift off the ground and landing on wheels. Pilcher was also working on a powered plane called a triplane in 1899. However, he died when his Hawk glider crashed just days before he could test the triplane out. Brothers take off. On December 17, 1903, Wilbur and Orville Wright took flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The American bike makers had traveled from Ohio to North Carolina at the turn of the 20th century to test their gliders. The Wright Flyer was the first powered, controlled, heavier-than-air machine to successfully fly, with Orville at the controls. The power from its engine and the design of the wings helped the Flyer sail 120 feet, 36.6 meters, in 12 seconds. People had finally taken true flight. Weird wonders. Once the Wright brothers took flight, many people tried to make their own weird and wonderful airplanes. John William Dunne created a number of tailless planes in the early 1900s that later became the inspiration for many modern tailless planes. 2 American inventors, W. P. Kindry and John Pitts, built a Sky Car. They first tested in 1928. The aircraft had spinning rotors that moved up and down, trying to create lift. Instead, it just hopped on the ground. Zeppelins go boom. The largest flying machines ever made were called airships, zeppelins, or dirigibles. Lighter than air and able to be steered, these machines were filled with lighter-than-air gases, such as hydrogen or helium. The biggest Zeppelin was the Hindenburg, which first flew in 1936. At 803 feet, 245 meters long, the Hindenburg was filled with hydrogen, which allowed the aircraft to lift 511,500 pounds, 232,221 kilograms. In 1937, the crash of the Hindenburg on May 6 all but ended airship travel throughout the world. Off to space? Modern airplane disasters don't happen very often. Planes are safer, pilots are better trained, and most aircraft are tested many times before they're allowed to carry people. This testing, however, can be full of accidents. In 2014, a company called SpaceX launched a test rocket in Texas. The unmanned craft, called the Falcon 9, exploded shortly after liftoff. No one was hurt, but it was a reminder that every flight always comes with the risk of a crash.
Women's suffrage. We will vote. Mary Morton Cohen. Scene 1. Sunday, July 9, 1848. The home of Jane Hunt in Waterloo, 3 miles west of Seneca Falls. As the curtain opens, Jane, Mary Ann, Lucretia, Martha, and Elizabeth sit at the table sipping tea. In the mid-1800s, conventions are common in the Reform Belt of upstate New York. Elizabeth Cady Stanton has recently moved to Seneca Falls with her abolitionist husband and 3 young sons. Lucretia and James Mott of Philadelphia are visiting. In 1840, Elizabeth and Lucretia met at an anti-slavery convention in London. For 8 years, they have exchanged letters about daily life, as well as their views on things such as civil rights and political issues of the time. Today they meet again. Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Lucretia. Lizzie, hast thou found life satisfactory in Seneca Falls? Oh, Mrs. Mott, I feel terribly isolated. Henry is away much of the time, and I am left with the 3 boys. Women here are so downtrodden. They're helpless and abused like slaves. Remember how upset we were when women couldn't speak at the anti-slavery convention in London? Lucretia nods. Remember our promise to hold a women's rights convention when we returned home? I knew thee would not forget. Lucretia has been busy preaching anti-slavery. Lucretia Mott. I've been busy having babies. All laugh. Let's hold that convention now. James and Lucretia return to Philadelphia in 2 weeks. We'll hold it before then, at the Wesleyan Chapel in Seneca Falls. Reform groups often meet there. Who would come? This is haying season and a busy time of year for families. We cannot wait. We'll declare our grievances and adopt resolutions. They say all men are created equal. I say all men and women are created equal. Our Declaration of Sentiments will follow the Declaration of Independence. Lizzie Stanton, thee amazes me. What a splendid idea. Curtain. Scene 2, July 19th. Wesleyan Methodist Chapel, Seneca Falls. As the curtain opens, all the female actors gather in the side aisle of the auditorium where the play is being performed. Convention plans are made. Elizabeth writes most of the documents. 10 days later, 300 people arrive, and the building is locked. Shouts. Daniel, can you get through that window? Runs across stage from back right. Coming, Aunt Lizzie. Opens door. Crowd rushes onto stage and takes seats. Elizabeth, where is thy husband? Henry isn't coming. He is out of town. Oh, Lizzie, thee will make us look ridiculous. Without the right to vote, women remain second-class citizens. Very well. If thee is determined, let me not stand in thy way. Elizabeth and Lucretia sit beside pulpit. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Man has repeatedly denied woman her rights. He has never permitted her to vote. He has taken all her right to property and money. Women nod. Curtain. Scene 3, July 20th, Wesleyan Chapel. The curtain opens. James Mott. Although they had not planned to include men, the organizers of the convention allow men to attend on the second day. 12 resolutions are presented and debated. All except one are unanimously adopted. Pounds gavel on pulpit. Welcome to this convention. Issues and resolutions will be presented, debated, and voted on. I introduce my dear wife, Lucretia Mott. Applause. Women, The time has come to demand thy rights. Applause. I implore thee to join in these debates. Thee must be heard.
Be it resolved that women should secure their sacred right to vote.
Shouts from the crowd. No! Never! Frederick Douglass stands. I second the motion. Waits for silence. Women should be entitled to everything we claim for men. Applause. The power to choose rulers and make laws is the right by which all others can be secured. Applause. I have been a free man for less than 2 years. What is possible for me is possible for you. Women, demand your right to vote. Applause. All those in favor? More than half of the convention goers raise hands. Opposed? The rest raise hands. The resolution passes by a narrow margin. Curtain. Frederick Douglass, Scene 4. A few weeks later. As the curtain opens, Elizabeth sits at one desk, Lucretia at the other. News of the first Women's Rights Convention spreads quickly. Women are ridiculed for their audacity to claim political rights. Finishes writing, then reads, Dear Lizzie, thee must be, as I am, disturbed at the negative news reports. Yet we must accept these attacks with dignity. Thee has shown persistence, as I knew thee would. Thy bold defense of the right to vote is admirable. Lovingly thine, Lucretia. Finishes writing, then reads, Dear friend, had I the slightest idea what havoc our recent convention would cause, I would not have dared to risk it. I cherish your friendship and support, and am overjoyed that Mr. Douglass endorsed our voting resolution. All this publicity will start women thinking. Men will start thinking too. Women will vote one day, mark my word. Yours, Lizzie. Curtain.
Math and